It's now down to 12. A dozen drivers left to decide a Cup Series champion over the next 7 weeks. The second round of the playoff contains two of the biggest wild card races on the NASCAR calendar, Talladega and the Roval. But it all kicks off right here today at Texas Motor Speedway. Welcome everyone to Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic from a toasty Texas Motor Speedway this afternoon. The Peacock Pit Box located just outside of Victory Lane as we get ready to start the round of 12 here in the Cup Series playoffs. Along with Kyle Petty and the big guy Brad Daugherty, I'm Marty Snyder. Heat is the story today. 100 degrees, not lying, 100 degrees is the ambient temperature. The real feel, 110. Brad wanted to know what it was on the pit box. 108 on the pit box.
My goodness,
135 today in the car, Kyle.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of heat does this challenge the drivers with this afternoon?
I think it's a mental thing. That's all we're talking about. We've come on air, and all we've talked about is the heat. That's all we've been talking about yesterday. That's all the crews are talking about. Everybody's talking about hydration and heat. It is a mental thing. We talk about it. We think about it. Now you got to block it out. You got to block it out, get in that car, and focus on what your job is, and that's to go out and score as many points as if you're in the playoffs as you can today.
Brad, everybody's also talking about the round of 12. It's the round that every team is worried about with the unpredictability of Talladega and the Roval coming. What's the playoff team's mindset coming into the, quote, normal race of the round at Texas?
Yeah, that's the whole catch of the whole thing. This is not a normal race. You're just telling yourself that none of these next 3 races are normal races. This just happens to be the first of some abnormal races. So you have to come in with a mindset of, we're chasing a checkered flag. You don't want to point your way. You don't want to be safe. You have to be aggressive. And at the end of the day, you need to be chasing that checkered flag, and that's it.
Well, the playoff picture resets today after a wild round of 16 that saw 2 former champions in Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano eliminated. No question, though, Martin Truex Jr. needed the playoff reset more than anyone. After 3 wins in the regular season, they won the regular season title with the 19 team, and with it the 15 playoff points that came. But the round of 16 was just awful for this race team. They barely advanced, but start the round of 12, Kyle. They are back on top, tied for the #1 seed. Do you see Truex reinserting himself into the championship favorite conversation right away?
Check with me on Motor Mouse on Monday, and I will let you know. Because here's the thing. Leading up to the playoffs, 6 races, 6 top 10s, a win at New Hampshire, scored 9 playoff points, and the 15 points for the bonus points. When you look at that, all these points he accumulated in those 5 or 6 races, he gave back in round 1. Now we start round 2 flush. What Martin Truex and what team shows up, what shows up in this round will determine whether I believe he makes it to the finals.
Well, it was Truex's teammate Denny Hamlin who won at Bristol and was promptly booed by the 100,000 people in attendance. Once beloved by the fans, when exactly did Denny Hamlin switch to the dark side, as he calls it? Here's our Nate Ryan to explain.
Denny Hamlin is loving being hated.
I beat your favorite driver.
And who would that be?
All of them.
This wasn't the first time this year, and unapologetic and unremorseful Denny devilishly got under the crowd's skin.
Denny Hamlin out of the car. They can boo my rock out here in a few years.
The understated kid from Chesterfield, Virginia, wasn't always so jeered, but he also never shied away from the drama. And at Martinsville 6 years ago, a run-in with NASCAR's most popular driver changed everything.
I don't know that I've ever heard Virginia native Denny Hamlin booed in his home state.
After being mercilessly booed, Denny slowly began embracing his heel turn.
He would probably say, short track racing. He's just a hack. He's an absolute hack. I'll just add it to the list of guys when I get a chance, they're going to get it.
And over time, his social media presence became a playground of internet trolling. But Denny doesn't seem to mind.
I love talking. I do. I welcome any fan to want to come to the dark side.
With his nonchalant trash talk, Denny might be NASCAR's best villain yet.
Right, talk. Come, bring it.
Embracing the hate could take him where his detractors dread the most, his first championship.
Down here, getting ready to go to driver's intro, Denny Hamlin. Denny, we just watched a piece about all the trolling you've been doing here lately, all the great sound bites you've been giving us in a sport that's been begging for personalities. You're carrying the load, and you're picking up the slack for these other guys. I want to know what's changed, because I hear you're also one of the most accessible drivers filming this new Netflix documentary. So what's new?
Nothing's really new. I mean, when I did the Dale Jr. download, actually, you said you realized towards the end of the career your give a F meter started pegging towards the opposite side, and mine's kind of got there. So I don't know, you're comfortable in everything you've got. Obviously a great relationship with all the partners, and I did have to check in with Joe this week. He was just making sure all the sponsors are all happy, everyone's good, and I don't want to take it too far, but also like having fun. And certainly it's good fun, because the fans, I appreciate how passionate they are one way or another.
Well, look, I want to take you back on the racetrack. So you and Larson have had some great battles, some fierce battles this year. It appears to me that you guys are the two favorites to win this championship. Do you feel the same way?
Well, I think on speed, certainly, the 5 team shows up with a ton of speed every single weekend, right? And they're going to be one of the cars that you got to beat. But we play the game every week because you just never know what can happen, right? But certainly I think the speed that we've got, the speed the 5 cars got, I can understand that argument, certainly, but there's 6 more weeks of work that's got to be put in before we can discuss what happens in Phoenix.
Well, we appreciate you giving us some time to talk to you today. This man right here has been the fastest thing on the racetrack in round 1. We're starting round 2, and I think you'll be up front today.
Well, let me get my Denny Hamlin fan club card out of my pocket, because I am a Denny Hamlin fan now, I'm telling you. But what I took away from that was when he said, I did have to check in with Joe this week to make sure the sponsors and everything was going, which means Denny knows there's a guardrail out there somewhere.
Sure.
There's a guardrail on the left and there's a guardrail on the right. And he can play this game and he can be the bad boy to a certain degree.
Sure.
But when it starts affecting Joe Gibbs Racing, when it starts affecting the sponsors, then they're going to really mend a little bit. But it is exciting to see where Denny Hamlin is.
Brad, I would assume as a young athlete, the boos bother you. How do you then turn that into motivation?
Yeah, what happens here and what you're seeing with Denny is what you see with professional athletes in general. When you first start your career, you're so concerned with what everyone thinks. You want to please everyone. And what you realize is the media and all these people around you can create these narratives about you, whether or not they're true or false, and you have to answer to them. Once you become a seasoned athlete and you've been around a long time, you really do figure out it doesn't matter. I'm going to do the best I can do, and whatever I bring to the table is what I got. I think he's having fun with this, and I think it is absolutely fun to watch.
KP, 4 times he's been to the championship 4. No titles to show for it. Why will this year be different?
4-time another Denny Hamlin has been to the championship 4. This is a different Denny Hamlin. You heard him say his give-a-meter is pegged the other way, and that's who Denny Hamlin is now. That's why it's exciting to watch him run for this championship.
Well, the NASCAR family suffered a tragic loss last Sunday. Sherry Pollux, a longtime partner of Martin Truex Jr. and daughter of former NASCAR Xfinity Series team owner Greg Pollux, lost her courageous battle with ovarian cancer. Sherry was a bright light for anyone who was blessed to spend time with her. Her tireless work to bring attention not only to her disease, but also childhood cancer touched thousands of lives and raised millions of dollars. From all of us at our NBC Sports family, our condolences to the entire Pollux family. Sherry Pollux was 44 years old. NASCAR Fantasy Live lets you keep tabs on your fantasy lineup throughout the race and allows you to adjust your picks until the end of Stage 2. Visit NASCAR.com/fantasy or select the fantasy icon on the NASCAR mobile app. Well, here's what's on the menu presented by Sonic. Bubba Wallace is on the pole for the race at Texas today. Just his 2nd career pole, and it comes at a critical time because Texas kicks off the round of 12 in the Cup Series playoff. This round also includes Talladega and the Roval at Charlotte, where 4 more drivers will be eliminated. Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, and Bubba Wallace start the round below the cut line. Interestingly, all 4 drivers have won at a track in this round. So, Brad, that leads us to where the points shape up as we start the round of 12.
Yep. Boy, look at this. I mean, it is my thing is I'm looking for guys to win races. So I think any of these guys in any 12 can win the race today or win the race next week. So it doesn't bother me to look at Bubba Wallace down there in 12. Even though he doesn't have any points, he does need the stage points to get through. I think he can win Talladega. So that takes that out of that. So this is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, 0 playoff points to this point for Bubba Wallace. It's a big day for his buddy Ryan Blaney, making career start number 300. Right now, he's with Kim Kuhn.
Yeah, a big milestone for Ryan Blaney and a big race in terms of what you need to do to feel safe headed to Talladega and the Roval. So starting 23rd, what do you guys have to do here today?
Yeah, hopefully go forward. We definitely got a long way to go to the front. We missed it a little bit yesterday and didn't get a very good lap on our Dutch Boy Menards Ford Mustang, but Long race today, hot and slick. Hopefully we can continue to try to adjust on it, try to make our way towards the front, maybe catch a lucky caution or two, to switch things up. You kind of see that here. So just have our heads ready to kind of switch things up. And we worked hard last night to try to get a little better. So it's nice to start this round off on the right foot, right? So you want to have a good run today. But I think Talladega next week is what it is. You're going to want to try to go win it no matter what position you're in. And so we'll see. So one race at a time. Hopefully we can start it pretty good. 300 starts. That's hard to believe. Someone told me that a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't believe it. And just time goes by. So a lot of great people along the way. And hopefully I make it 300 more.
Blaney comes into this race -6 to the elimination line. Thanks, Ryan.
Brad Keselowski and team did enough at Bristol to find their way through to the round of 12, but now you start below the cut line again. So I want to know how you're feeling about that and the extreme heat you have to race in today.
Well, I'm worried about you, Dave. You okay? It's hot here. You guys, at least we got air conditioning in the car, that whole 140-degree environment. But, today's going to be a tough race. And not only do you have the heat to deal with, challenging track, but also the point situation, like you said, with the playoffs. So if we just do the things we did in the last round, top 10s, compete for wins, win stages, we're going to be just fine. And I think that's where our focus is with both cars at RFK.
They grounded out round 1, hoping for the same in round 2, Marty.
So, Kyle, which driver who starts the round below the cut line has the best chance to advance to the round of 8?
That driver right there, Brad Keselowski, not finished outside the top 10 in any of the races in round 1. The team, the organization has already won 3 races. They're on an upward movement.
Yeah, I've already tried to call Michael Jordan. He told me I have to pick this guy today. So I'm going with Bubba Wallace. I was shocked at how fast he was here in qualifying. The attitude, the consistency of this race team. They have to win this race. They have to win the next race. I think he wins this race today.
Okay, so to that point, I don't think anybody expected him, Brad, to be on the pole today.
I didn't. No.
But is it fair to label Bubba's postseason run so far as the biggest surprise of the playoffs?
No. I think the biggest surprise of the playoffs to me happens to be Kevin Harvick and that 14 missing the playoffs.
Out of the round of 16.
Out of the round of 16. I'm sorry, out of the round of 16. And then the RFK cars, Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher, man. What they've done this year has been remarkable. And for both of those cars, after the struggle that organization's been through for the last 2 decades, this is unbelievable where they're at. But the Bubba Wallace thing is big, no doubt about it.
When we come back, we'll hear from Jeff Burton and Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the pressure of this round in the playoffs. Plus, we'll hear from Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell as we get closer to the green flag on a toasty 100-degree day
108.
Here at the Texas Motor Speedway.
108, 100, 108.
Green flag is in the air, and we're racing at Texas Motor Speedway.
2 car ran into us. That's what happened.
Big old fight up pit road.
Punches flying off left and right down here.
Holy smoke! Woo!
Working your way low, working your way low.
He gets loose into turn 2. He blew a tire. Trouble! Martin Truex Jr. hard to the wall.
Another playoff car.
Oh, we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Yeah, flat right rear tire on the 20.
Oh, and into the wall of 9 of Chase Elliott.
Something came apart.
2 liter, 48.
First thing I want to do is thank all these fans.
Yeah, guys, great job.
Kyle Busch wins in Texas.
Hell yeah, boys. Let's go.
Reddick is going to get a nose out in front.
Come on, bring it home.
Tyler Reddick wins at Texas.
Wait, Brad, didn't we just call Texas the normal race of this round? I mean, I think we maybe need to rethink that, Jeff Burton, after watching those highlights, because, I don't know, is Texas just as big of a wild card as Talladega and the Roval?
I would say so, and I tell you what, I think the playoffs itself are a wild card. Think about this, only 2 drivers, Tyler Reddick and Keselowski, have not had issues in these playoffs. As the teams have tried to step it up, some have overstepped their bounds and got themselves in trouble. And Junior, this is when the best meet the best. So any little mistake at all shows up big because you're trying to beat somebody that is so close to you as far as competition.
That's right. And then we're going to Talladega and the Roval, but just think about the conditions today. 101 degrees, miserable conditions inside the car. None of these drivers are really excited about climbing inside there. And then we know this racetrack is treacherous, very slick outside of the bottom groove. How will that challenge the drivers today? Will that bottom groove be the only place they can put the car and be comfortable, or will we see them having trouble just like we have all the last several times they've come to this racetrack? So this is now just as challenging as a Talladega, as a Roval, as a Bristol, any other racetrack in the rounds.
Yeah, Marty, we've seen a lot of cautions here like Junior just talked about. it's not going to get easier today, and the pressure's higher. So, and yes, I can confirm it's hot. It's not a little hot. It's a lot hot.
Brad wasn't lying a minute ago. 108 on the pit box. And just to show you how unpredictable this playoff race at Texas can be, the last 6 Cup races here, 6 different faces in victory lane at Texas, including Tyler Reddick, who won this race last year and right now is hanging out with Dave Burns.
Well, let's find out how Tyler feels about that. Last year's winner and most recent winner on a 1.5 mile track, too. So what's the confidence level for today?
It's certainly high, for sure. You know, seeing the 23 put it on the pole definitely just, you know, confirms that we got good speed. You know, we didn't get the best hole in practice yesterday, so we weren't really not really sure what we have for short run pace, but it definitely showed itself in the long run. So just a little bummed we didn't get in qualifying, but it's in the past now. We still got a good pit stall for today, so we'll spend the rest of this afternoon getting back to the front, getting those stage points, and hopefully putting ourselves back in position to win another race.
Good luck for 2 in a row at Texas.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Christopher Bell has top 10 finishes in the last 2 races. So do you feel like this team is starting to hit his stride?
Definitely think we're gaining on it. I don't think that we've hit our top end potential yet, but it's been really fun for sure. You know, the qualifying stuff has been really good. So we've been showing our speed in glimpses. It just hasn't all come together, but we're working on it. So Bristol was a great race last week. To be able to lead laps, win stages was really good. And I know that that's what we're capable of week in and week out. So love Texas Motor Speedway. It's my home track, and we've got our home colors, Interstate batteries on the car today. So should be a big day.
Christopher Bell mentions it being his home track. He hails from Norman, Oklahoma, just a 3-hour drive from Texas Motor Speedway.
You know what's interesting about that? I think it's an actual debate as to who's been the better organization, 2311 or Joe Gibbs Racing so far in these playoffs. And the fact that it's even a conversation, that's credit to 2311. They have performed so well here in these playoffs. So when we come back, which 4 drivers do Brad and KP think will be eliminated after the round of 12? 4 must go home in 2 weeks. Find out who it might be next. Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sonic. $2.99 Buffalo Chicken Dip Bites for limited time only at Sonic. Well, it may be 100 degrees in the Dallas area this weekend, but there's plenty to do here at the racetrack. Kyle, I can't tell what's more up your alley, wrestling or armadillo racing.
Armadillo racing, baby! Look at that. That's hardcore.
He's got a built-in cool suit.
You got that right, man.
So much going on around the racetrack here at Texas Motor Speedway. It was outside.
I should go out there, man.
Now, we've had some great burnout interview moments over the years, but Denny Hamlin's interview last Saturday night might be the new clubhouse leader.
I've been so close so many times this year.
I know I'm a big baby right now.
I miss the fans. I miss them so much.
Proud to be a winner in the Cup Series.
It's great to check that one off, baby. We did it!
Woo! Strategically, that doesn't seem like such a great decision for him, but it's the one he made, and that's how he wanted to win.
He raced me hard, so I raced him hard back.
He's Crash Guys here for wins.
Just an absolute hack. He may win the battle, but he ain't winning the damn war.
You just got to expect Martinsville at the end of the race. You're going to have some bumping and grinding.
We're going to go give them hell, and if we wreck, we wreck, and if we win, we win. We did it! And we won!
You're going to go through a lot of bullshit, but you always got to stick true to your path and not let the nonsense get to you. Been plenty of times where I wanted to give up, and you surround yourself with the right people, and it's moments like this that you appreciate.
I beat your favorite driver.
And who would that be?
All of them.
Holy moly. Did y'all like that?
That's awesome. Brad, that's the best thing about the burnout interview. It allows for that type of interaction with the fans.
Well, it also shows a little bit of creativity, but most importantly, it shows the engagement with the fans. You know, we take for granted as fans of the sport, these guys getting in these hot rods going 200 miles an hour, racing inches apart, the emotion that it takes to do something like that. It boils in you, and then all of a sudden you finally grasp that ring. Oh, man, it overflows, and you want to share it with the greatest fans in sport.
Well, for a few things to keep our eye on today, let's head to pit road with Dave Burns.
Well, eyes have all been on the 20 pit crew of Christopher Bell because he adopted them from the 54 of Ty Gibbs when the playoffs started, and it has not gone to plan. And the numbers do not lie. They have been 26th best on average on pit road, while Ty Gibbs, who got the 20 pit crew, well, they've been 3rd best. So they've got to get something going now with the pit crew. I talked to the pit crew coach, Brian Holland, earlier today. He said, we're not making any changes. We're staying the course. They're professionals, and we think they can get it done starting here in round 2. Kim?
Well, it is shaping up to be the hottest Texas race in NASCAR history, and a lot of precautions are being taken. For the first time ever, NASCAR is allowing the teams to keep the cars covered on the grid and put a fan in the driver compartment. That's to flush out the hot air, keep all of those compartments and components nice and cool for the drivers before they go racing. We know there will cool suits as well as have air units. For the pit crews, though, not a lot of options. They told me they've been hydrating all week long. That hydration will continue into the race. They will take salt tablets. They will try to stay in the shade. They'll have fans in their pit boxes. But again, a hot one here in Texas.
It's approaching top 5 hottest races ever. Okay, time for you guys to tell us who you think will be eliminated after this round of the playoffs. But first, let's review your picks from the round of 16. Let's see how you guys did.
Oh.
Kyle Petty.
Look at that.
0 for 4?
Hey, it's not as
Come
easy.
on.
It's not as easy as Brad makes it look, man. It's not as easy.
Oh, come on.
Come on, man. I tried.
Oh, Nostradarty over here.
Nostradarty.
Brad, you have earned the T-box because clearly you're better at this than Kyle is. So
I tried, man. I really tried on that one.
Yeah, you put a lot of effort in. Who's going to be eliminated after the round of 12?
So hard. Okay, so I got Bubba Wallace winning today. Ricky Stenhouse wins next week. I think it's going to be Blaney, Chastain, Keselowski, and Busch. I know it sounds crazy to say Kyle Busch.
Man.
I think it's
some big names in there. Some big names in there.
I'm getting a fan on the desk here. I got to cool my brain. Okay, I got Chastain. Who I got? I got Blaney, Chastain, Busch, Kyle Busch. Now listen, because those guys won top 10 in the playoffs. Yeah. But Martin Truex, he's not even hardly sniffed a 20.
That's true.
A top 20. So I got Truex in mine out.
So wait a minute, Brad. Why is everybody counting Kyle Busch out? I think he could win the race. You had him out too.
I know. I had no idea why.
I got him out because he's not even the bad guy anymore. Denny Hamlin is.
True.
When you lose that crown, man, you're out. You're out. That's the way it is.
I don't know. Won Talladega in the spring. He's so good here at Texas Motor Speedway. I think it's tough to count him out.
Can we change our votes? Can we change?
No, you're locked in. When we come back, time for today's pre-race ceremonies from Texas Motor Speedway. Texas Motor Speedway is a site for the first race in the round of 12 for the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Many consider this the toughest round of the playoffs, and it starts with maybe the toughest race conditions all year long. Ambient temperatures near 100 degrees, heat index of 110, 130 in the car. Kyle, how does a driver deal with conditions like that?
Listen, and you heard Jeff and Junior say, nobody wants to get in these things. They don't want to get in them, but it affects them mentally. It's physical from the dehydration side, but the mental focus to focus in that temperature is incredibly tough.
And Brad, it's not just the drivers, the crews. How do they stay cool? They're in the conditions all day long.
I think it's even more importantly the crews. Those guys are running around. The gas man has Nomex and a fireproof suit on, running around with a head sock on. It's incredibly hot. You just got to be tough, focus, and keep an eye on each other.
And the spotters on top of the roof as well. It's going to be a warm one here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Time for a very special pre-race ceremony from Texas.
As a NASCAR family, we have often been encouraged and challenged personally by the strength, grace, and faith of Sherry Pollux, a hero who fought hardest for others so their battles would become victories. Please join together in a moment of silence as we honor Sherry, who suffers no more, is at peace in the presence of her Savior, and remembering her always as the bright light of hope and inspiration we will forever be blessed to know.
Thank you. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome retired Lieutenant Colonel Caroline Blaze Jensen.
Isaiah 40:31 says, "Those that hope in the Lord will renew their strength and soar on wings as eagles." Heavenly Father, protect the drivers, their teams, race officials, emergency responders, and spectators as the cars fly around Texas Motor Speedway today. Finally, Lord, we pray for the brave men and women serving in harm's way to defend our freedom. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
We ask that you please rise as you are able and remove your hats. And please welcome from Fort Cavazos, Texas, the 1st Cavalry Division Honor Guard as they present our nation's color, and the 1st Cavalry Band as they perform our national anthem.
Well, when we come back, what makes turn 1 at Texas so challenging? Burton Jr. will tell us next. Plus, Rick Allen and Steve Letarte from the booth. Time to kick off round number 2 of the playoffs next on USA.
I think from pretty much this point on, one mistake, one bad day can really be the game changer.
Let's go! Hell yeah! Great job, guys.
Texas, first race of the round, right? So take advantage of a normal race, if there is a normal race, and get out of there with a win.
Kyle Busch wins at Texas.
Hell yeah, boys! Let's go!
What will you do to get to victory lane in this second round of the playoffs? Points have been reset, and that means that 12 drivers still have an opportunity to win the title, but they've got to get through this round and then get to the round of 8 so that they can fight once again to get to the championship 4 to decide the champion in 2023. A 2-time champion and 4-time Texas winner, Kyle Busch. Dave, can he make it 5 today?
Well, we're going to see. When I talked to his crew chief round number 9 about round 1, he said 2 words: not good. They're hoping this can be a lot better. You mentioned the 4 Cup wins, 17 wins over NASCAR's 3 National Series here, and over 1,000 laps led in the Cup Series. This could be the start of a good round 12 for Kyle Busch. Kim?
Well, Dave, Ross Chastain starts this playoff round -3 to the elimination line. The team felt they were just average during the first round and needed to elevate their performance if they want to survive past this round. So what specifically do they need to do? Crew Chief Phil Surgeon said earning stage points is something they need to work on, and that starts with a good qualifying effort. Well, yesterday, Ross delivered, earning a 5th place starting position. His first Texas start, Marty, better than 12th.
Well, Kim, Chris Buescher wants to win no race more than maybe the Daytona 500 than here at his home racetrack at the Texas Motor Speedway. His hometown, Prosper, Texas, is 40 minutes north of this racetrack, but he has not had success here at Texas. In fact, he's never finished in the top 15 here at Texas, and he's never led a lap. But today, he starts second, and his crew chief, Scott Graves, told me, we qualified so well, we think we have maybe the best car that we've ever had here at Texas. Today might be our day, and this team is proved everybody wrong throughout the entire season. It is hot here at Texas today. Let's make it hotter and kick off the round number 2 and get the engines cranked at Texas.
And now, here to say the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome 3-time CMT award-winning singer and songwriter, Jelly Roll.
What's up, Texas Motor Speedway? Drivers, start your engine!
When you can fire it up when you're ready, I'll let you know when they're rolling. Fire it up when you're ready.
So you want to drive a race car at Texas Motor Speedway, you better think twice about it. It keeps drivers from sleeping. This corner right here, it's hot today, it's slick. This corner has no grip anyway. Look how flat it is. When you enter this corner, you're going 10 miles an hour faster than when you enter turn 3, but because of no grip, you're going 15 miles an hour slower when you get to the center of the corner. This is where the wrecks happen, and this can change a championship, Junior.
And you know I love that outside line, Jeff, and this turn right here in 1 and 2 will develop that upper line as the race goes on. We've seen a lot of drivers get outside of that bottom groove and end up in the fence, but if you run tight against that inside line, you can make time around this corner and down in turn 3 and 4. But if you slip up, if you get out of this groove, the grip goes to 0 and your car goes in the wall. We're going to find out just how these guys navigate this race. The start is coming up next.
Been running fast, crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. I worked for this for all these years and I wouldn't break or back down. No. I fought through all my fears and all my frustrations. See the light is getting clear. I know I'm taking it now. It's my time. I'm taking it now.
Round 2 starts today, and it's another opportunity for a playoff driver to win their way into the next round. It's NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Texas Motor Speedway, the Autotrader EchoPark Automotive 400. And there is a guy that has gained confidence with every race, and as a matter of fact, he is starting on the pole today. Steve, let's dial up the driver, the number 23, Bubba Wallace.
I'm going to let him get by some traffic here. He's fixed his steering wheel. I don't want to be the guy that ends his day early. All right, let's dial him up. Hey, Bubba, it's Letarte. The guys in the booth, you get a copy?
What's up, Doc?
My man, no better way to end the round of 12 than being the fastest man in Texas. Congrats on the pole, and tell the fans listening at home what the biggest challenge is for the 400 miles ahead.
Besides the heat, probably the heat. It's a hot one here in Texas, but feel really good about our McDonald's Toyota Camry. It's solid, guys, and everybody did a really good job of preparing for this weekend. We know we're behind with the other dogs, so we got to fight hard, and getting the pole here was a hats off and a testament to what we do at 2311. So should be a good day. Be a hot and slick one. Got to stay cool, calm, and collected, and let's go get us a dub.
You mentioned hot and slick. Racetrack looks very different. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 2 different ends. Which one do you think is going to be most challenging in these conditions?
Ooh. Yeah, like you said, both of them are different, but both of them are treacherous. So you got to be mindful of how far you get up the racetrack at both ends. But 3 and 4 is definitely sketchy.
All right, man. Well, good luck. Appreciate you taking the time. I know the fans do. We'll be watching and cheering you on.
Good, Paul. Thank you.
And he's going to bump the pace car.
In his second pole. Sounded loose, though. Sounded loose. I think that's the Bubba I think that the fans want to hear and need to hear. That's the Bubba that I think can have a great day. Relaxed, enjoying the moment, enjoying this opportunity in front of him.
Looks confident, sounds confident, and starting from the pole. Dave, let's talk a little bit about the guy who won the first race of the first round, Kyle Larson.
And ended up the round of 1 pretty good. The first round last week at Bristol with a second place finish. That is Kyle Larson. 15 Cup starts here, a win in this race in 2021, and he's led 256 laps. And he loves the places where you can go to the higher line. It might take a little while for it to come in, but Kyle Larson should be able to get there, Kim.
Well, Dave, for his teammate William Byron, this number 24 team are averaging a top 5 finish at 1.5 miles. But Byron's got some work to do if he wants a top 5 finish today. They missed it in qualifying and will start 18th. But the team's not overly concerned. They were calm, cool, collected when I talked to him this morning. They come into this race with 36 playoff points. And crew chief Rudy Fugel told me they don't think they need to do anything spectacular in this round. Solid days with no drama is the plan, Marty, for this 24 team.
Well, Kim, when I asked Kyle Petty in the pre-race show, why will this year be different for Denny Hamlin, he said, this is a different Denny Hamlin. That's why he could maybe win his first ever championship. Well, for the record, his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, agrees. When I talked to him this morning, he said his driver is more locked in than he has ever seen him. And when I asked Gabehart about all the boos that Denny got post-race after winning at Bristol last week, he said, I love it. Quote, relevancy is fun. If they're making noise for you, that's all that matters. The fans might be making noise for Denny Hamlin once again. A terrific car here at Texas. Could it be back-to-back wins, Rick? We'll find out.
Yeah, well, relevance is right. He is the most relevant right now in the sport after his big win a week ago. Let's take a look at the starting grid. What a confidence builder it has been for Bubba Wallace. He'll start up front for just the second time in his career alongside one of the hottest drivers here since the playoffs have started, Chris Buescher.
Yeah, back in row 4, you see Kyle Busch. Kyle saying, why not him? A 4-time Texas winner. We'd like to make it 5 behind him. Christopher Bell, not from Texas, but just up the road in Oklahoma. He considers this his home racetrack.
Yeah, Norman, just straight north of here. We've got Kyle Larson, again, one of those drivers that you would expect to be running up front.
Yeah, row 7, Austin Dillon has won here before. How about Alex Bowman? He won in 19, 20, 21, 22. Looking to continue that streak. Still needs a win here in 2023.
William Byron back there in row 9. We go back to Blaney in row 12. The farthest starting back of the drivers in the playoffs right now. He'll start next to Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Corey LaJoie back there in row 14. A good run at Bristol. Almost got a stage win. Looks to continue that momentum. Zane Smith in the 38, a name we don't see all the time. Todd Gilliland will be in the 51, a row behind. Normally drives the 38. We'll keep track of their updates starting near the back of the field.
We heard Bubba mention the temperature. It is hot. As a matter of fact, this will be the hottest Texas race ever in the history of NASCAR coming here. Right now, the temperature is 100 degrees. They're expecting it to climb to 101. Feels like 105 outside, but it's 116 right now in the car, and they're just running around at pace as far as pace car speed.
Yeah, so this will get much warmer as the engine kind of heat soaks. Now, under green, the good news, there'll be some air circulating in the car. The bad news, it's hard to stay hydrated. You can't really get any fluids under green. Under caution, you have the time to get a drink. You would think that would help cool you off, but as the car slows down, the heat goes up. This is something that all these drivers are going to have. I think they're physically fit enough that that's not the challenge. The challenge is staying mentally focused. Can you stay as focused as possible with the heat being a major distraction?
So we talked a little bit about points. They were reset to 3,000, and then all of the playoff points were added to them. And that's what we heard Kim say about William Byron. Both William Byron and Martin Truex Jr., their playoff points are 36, so they've got a good advantage starting this round.
Well, what we learned last round was a good advantage isn't a guarantee. Martin Truex Jr. went into Bristol on the outside looking in after 2 bad races. Now you look at this round, Talladega and the Roval, the next 2 races, no one on this page wants to depend on those. You think about Bubba Wallace, you would think about Talladega. Well, why not Texas? If he could get the job done here today, he advances automatically, doesn't have to worry about it.
You mentioned Bubba Wallace. Let's listen into his radio, a little pep talk here before the green.
All right, team. Great job. Great job on starting off this weekend on the right foot. Take this last lap to enjoy it, and then let's lock in and do what we need to do. Appreciate every single one of you. See you at the end of it. Let's go.
Lock in, do what we need to do. I think it's a focused Bubba. He's one who's publicly mentioned anxiety really gnaws at him, and he's looking for confidence.
Well, I'm going to tell you, focus is what all these drivers better be. In practice and qualifying, we saw turns 1 and 2 be the trouble spot in the Cup Series. The Xfinity Series race, we saw Sam Mayer wreck first corner, first lap. The outside lane will come in, much like Dale Jr. said in the pre-race, but it might not be there right now. So for Chris Buescher or the 54 of Ty Gibbs, how committed can they be?
The round of 2 about to get underway. We're racing in Texas. Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher into the gas first. Side by side as they go through 1 and 2 for the first time, and 3 wide back there in row 5.
Yeah, Larson got inside the 20 of Christopher Bell, which forced Denny Hamlin to the 3rd lane, but no battle settled up front as we see Bubba Wallace on the inside, that blue 17 of Chris Buescher on the outside.
Really impressed by Buescher's ability to run that second groove through 3 and 4 with pace early in this race. Not tiptoeing around this racetrack up there in that second groove. They went after it.
It'll be harder down here, though. 3 and 4 has more grip, so it has it immediately. This side does not have it as quick.
Jeff Jr., you guys were just down on this racetrack just minutes ago. We're hearing that it's 141 degrees track temp.
Yeah, it's true. Miserable. it's hot down there, and that's going to take away a lot of grip on the racetrack. Drivers will be moving around, though. That's one great thing about the heat in the surface of the racetrack and the heat of the day. It makes this racetrack wide.
Steve, you mentioned the uniqueness of this racetrack, a wide sweeping turns 1 and 2, a lot less banking. Then when they go down in 3 and 4, more banking and a little narrower radius.
The original construction was pretty similar. Both ends look like this end, 3 and 4. With that banking, a lot of throttle time, a lot of speed. Well, a few years back, they reconstructed turns 1 and 2, so as we ride on board with Kevin Harvick and the Hunt Brothers Pizza drivers, not only is it flat, but this big, wide entry into turn 1, pretty easy to get lost, or like this, turn left and overtake the car in front of you.
It really is. Most mile-and-a-half racetracks, you want to be right against the wall entering the corner, but here they never get even close to it. If you're out there by the wall, you're too late on the turn. It's just configured so differently.
You even hear the driver downshift into turn 1 and 2, getting down a gear to be able to accelerate on corner exit.
Bubba Wallace early on in this one, who's pulled out to 3-4 car length lead. Brad Keselowski running in the 3rd spot. Chastain and Gibbs top 5. Allmendinger up there in 6th. Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, Christopher Bell, and Kyle Larson on the top 10. Steve, fuel-wise, with this first stage, 80 laps, They can't make it all the way, or can they on fuel?
Just shy, as we see Ryan Blaney in that bright yellow car inside the 41 of Ryan Preece. These cars could go about 67 to 72 laps on fuel. This first one being 80. This tire has pretty good grip and keeps grip, but it does slow down a little bit, so I expect them to try to break this up somewhat near the middle of the stage.
And I think that's when we'll see the cars move up off the bottom of the racetrack. When the pace is lost on the bottom, you can't find grip and speed. It was there in the Xfinity race yesterday after about 20 or 30 laps on the run. But already right here, Tyler Reddick, one of the better cars, one of the better drivers using that second groove or the higher line at all these racetracks, trying to take the spot away from this 48 car. They've been battling for about 2 laps here, and he's finally going to give it up down into turn 1 and allow Bowman to go through.
Tyler Reddick with the Toyota on board, able to get out front and win a year ago at this racetrack.
Can you check it back in your rhythm, hit your mark here.
And Kim, what's going on with the 78 of B.J. McLeod?
Yeah, we talk about the tools drivers have to keep themselves cool in the race car, especially with hot temperatures. Well, for BJ, his cool suit has failed. These drivers have cool suits that pump cold water all around their torso to keep their core temperature down. Well, his has failed, and with talking with drivers, especially playoff drivers, that was their biggest fear here today, is a failure of a cool suit, because it is much worse having a failed cool suit than no cool suit at all, because it ends up pumping what is warm water all around you through the entirety of the race.
Yeah, you can't unplug it. Down on the bottom left, it's plugged into the box, so you could be able to unplug that, but it's still like wearing a triple layer coat underneath your uniform, which is already multiple layers. It is a great invention, one of the best inventions for driver comfort that's come along in some time, if not the history of the sport, to be honest with you. It's multiple degrees cooler for your torso. What we used to have before that, Jeff, were just the helmet fans. We had actual cooler that pushed cold air into the helmet. Now the drivers are asked to choose between one or the other, and just about every one of them's taking that vest because it works so well.
Before the Xfinity race yesterday, Justin Allgaier told me that he thought it would add years to drivers being able to drive in race cars. It makes that big of a difference. The problem is when it fails, it's that much worse, because yes, you can unplug it, but that water is still capped. It's still in that vest, and we've actually burned race drivers, blistered their skin. That's how hot it gets.
So an issue already for B.J. McLeod and his cool suit.
Cool suits have been around this sport for decades, Rick, and they've failed for decades. Even with the technology today, it's never sure whether that thing's going to work for you every time you get in the car. Marty, what are we hearing on the 19 car?
Well, Junior, you brought up an interesting point. You said sometimes the crew chiefs will make you decide, what do you want to do? Do you want to have the AC helmet running, or do you want to wear a cool shirt? Well, Martin Truex Jr. wears a cool shirt for every race. James Small does not let him have an air conditioner normally, but he did for this weekend. First time in a year and a half he has an air conditioner blowing cool air into the helmet. Why is that a decision? Well, Steve, it adds 9 pounds to the race car, but maybe more importantly, it pulls amperage off the car, which could take away a little bit of power. 26 amps to make that cool unit run for the helmet.
You see Kyle Larson moving to the inside of Christopher Bell. Denny Hamlin's going to try to join him. I'm glad you finished that story, because you were making my man James Small just seem like he was mean. No air conditioner for Truex, but it does. That weight, 9 pounds, might not seem like a lot on a 3,500-pound star car, but if it hurts where you put it or it changes the center of gravity, it can make a difference. The amperage, a little less of a concern, because these guys now could turn the alternator off on a final restart. That kind of gives you the power back. But defend my man James. It's performance reasons.
And just to clear it up, it's not the normal AC unit that has a belt on it that pulls power away from the engine.
Right, it's a self-contained unit, basically inside the race car. But yeah, it's some crew chiefs fight for that weight, some don't. I think I would give it to you drivers down there. I'm a nice guy, Dale. I always gave it the AC.
Well, it is the hottest race ever at Texas, and right now the hottest driver is Bubba Wallace out in front. He's led since the drop of the green flag, 13 laps up front here at Texas. "19 laps up front for Bubba Wallace, and as we take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap, there's a reason why. Bubba Wallace is continuing to turn fast laps. He's turned the fastest lap that has been run. It was on lap 2, 29.303 seconds around this mile-and-a-half racetrack at an average speed of 184 miles an hour. There's Daniel Suarez in the 9, just in front of the 5 of Kyle Larson.
Larson running just a little bit higher through the middle of 3 and 4. Saw him doing that in practice, just trying to find out whether there's a lot of rubber from the right side tires on the bottom groove. So he puts the left sides in that rubber to see if that actually helps the car find speed, find grip. Watch Denny moving up the racetrack here in 1 and 2. Be able to create any momentum down the back straightaway. Seeing a lot of drivers starting to move around, starting to look for speed off the bottom of the racetrack.
Is this early, 20 laps in?
Hey, I love it. We're hearing drivers talking about cars getting tighter. A tight race car is definitely a car you're going to try to drive up the racetrack and get some rotation. You move up the racetrack because it's too slow and tight on the bottom. A loose race car stays on the bottom, stays turning. A tight car is one that you're going to chase up the racetrack and try to find some rotation in the higher grooves. This car right here, Kyle Busch, I've seen him run some laps as well in the 2nd and 3rd groove down in turn 3 and 4. He's back to the bottom of the racetrack right here, trying to track down A.J. Allmendinger, who's having a great run so far this weekend.
Saw Martin Truex Jr. there make the pass on William Byron, so Truex Jr. moves up to 17th. Again, those two coming into this round, the most points, so the most playoff points that they were able to earn starting this round, which helps them out. The comparison is Bubba Wallace coming in with no playoff points. For him to advance, we've looked at the history, it's going to take about 104 points, which if you break that down into the 3 races, it's 35 points a race, which means he has to finish 2nd in these 3 races to get that many points. For William Byron and Martin Truex Jr., they've got to finish 14th to get the same number of points because of all the playoff points they're starting with.
The big difference maker, though, is you're assuming both 0 in the stages.
Yes.
There are 20 points available, so for Bubba Wallace, who's qualified on the pole, I think that's the pathway. I don't look as much at the finishes as points earned. So for Bubba Wallace, cars like him that are on the outside of the playoff, currently below the cut line, they need stage points. That's Bubba Wallace's goal. Unfortunately, for the other side of the playoff guys, Ryan Blaney is the guy down there in 12th, currently at minus 35, and it's going to take a big mix-up of the field for him to score stage points because he's all the way back in 25th, Jeff.
Yeah, he does not have the pace that he needs to have. His teammate Joey Logano is running in 23rd position. So, yeah, when you're trying to get points and you need stage points and you cannot get yourself up through there, it's going to make your challenge that much more difficult.
Ryan Blaney, again, making his 300th career start.
Well, and he's been top 10 of 8 of his last 9 races here, and he won the All-Star race back in 2022, which is even more shocking to see this 12 car struggling like it is.
Yeah, I'm confused. I thought that he'd have a great shot to make the Final Four and even race for his first championship. Now, that still could happen, but this team really needs to find some speed. The Fords struggled all year long, but now we're starting to see Brad Keselowski, Buescher, some of the other Fords compete, win races. Penske has just not moved the needle net. Let's listen to some 12 radio.
My entry into 1 is getting looser. Exit's getting looser, but things get worse in 3 and 4. Actually, the entry is getting looser both ends. Just losing overall grip.
Yeah, I talked to Ryan Blaney this morning, and he just told me that the trouble that they've been having is that yesterday they were just super tight on entry, and he needed to free it up, but he was so loose on exit he couldn't. So he couldn't carry enough speed into the corner because it wouldn't turn. And if he tried to loosen it up so it would turn, then it couldn't, the rear tires did not stick on corner exit. And that is going to be difficult to fix. They're going to have, this team will fight all day long and they'll work hard, but they are challenged today, and the conditions are going to make it harder for them.
We just saw Eric Jones make the pass there a minute ago on Tyler Reddick, and no surprise, the 43 team has looked very good to start off these playoffs.
And I'll give it to all of Legacy Motor Club, not just the 43. I think the 43 and the 42. There's Eric Jones right there in that bright silver with black number paint scheme, a little different look. But Hocevar in the 42, Jones in the 43, I have both, in my opinion, continued to improve. So as Legacy moves to Toyota next year, they're having some really good momentum out of what we've seen in these final few races.
You mentioned that paint scheme. It's a partnership between Versus Everybody, which is a leading apparel company from Detroit, and Legacy Motor Club. And the brand is launching a merchandise line that will be available online at DallasVersusEverybody.com. And what it's to do is celebrate that brand of the deep-rooted spirit, cultural vibrancy that is right here in the state of Texas. And Legacy Motor Club has that available at the merchandise hall. You can get it online as well. The portion of the proceeds from the merchandise sales go to the Eric Jones Foundation. But getting out and seeing different parts of Dallas that some of these drivers might not see every day.
He's looking around the racetrack, and I love what I'm seeing from this 43 car, finding good speed. He's closing in on Denny Hamlin, Larson.
Drivers are starting to make passes in 3 and 4 by using a high lane. The grip is developed over there first. Drivers are starting to get up the racetrack. That helps them down the front straightaway. And now that some spotters are seeing other drivers doing it, we're going to start to see it migrate to the front of the pack. That's what always happens. Guys in the back of the pack try it first. They make it work. That information goes to the front. Do not be surprised at all to see what's happening right here with Eric Jones start to happen with everybody in the field.
And
Kyle Busch right there just made a pass on A.J. Allmendinger. He's been working on this pass for probably 15 laps. Finally able to get up to the back bumper, that 16 car, get to the high side of 3 and 4. Closing in on the 54 of Gibbs, who has Keselowski in front of him. Where does the 8 car go down here in 3 and 4? Back to the top of the racetrack? Yes, he does. Trying to create momentum right here. The 54 Gibbs moves up as well. Dave, what are you hearing on the 8 car?
Well, I thought I heard that one of the reasons why that pass took so long was because the car was tight, but it was difficult to understand Kyle on the radio, and I think he was having the same trouble hearing his crew.
60 radios in my helmet. You were talking over the top of them. That's why we couldn't hear them.
And since then, the communication has been fairly clear between the team and the 8 driver. A little bit tight right now for Kyle. You see him working both sides of this. And by the way, guys, crews down here getting loosened up like they're getting ready for the first round of pit stops.
Steve, you mentioned that they'd break maybe this stage up, which we're about 5-6 laps away from the middle of this stage.
That's really going to be the key. I believe we're going to see a big wave of pit stops about 5 or 6 laps from here.
Bubba Wallace still out front. He's led all 33 laps.
When my doctor gave me Breztri for my COPD.
And green flag stops have started here at Texas Motor Speedway. Christopher Bell, the first to take that opportunity. Little chassis adjustment there. 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Sunoco fuel still needs a little bit better balance to do what he wants. And a little bit trouble it looked like on that left rear, getting the tire. Slow stop for Christopher Bell as more cars making their way down, including Ross Chastain. He was telling the team the back of the car is loose. He felt like he had no right rear contact with the racetrack. Asked for more rear stability. The crew, 4 fresh Goodyear tires, a chassis adjustment, and Sunoco fuel. Marty?
Kim talked to Scott Graves, the crew chief for Chris Buescher this morning, and he said a lot of concern about tires here at Texas this weekend, even though it's a new Goodyear tire. And he said, I think everybody's going to play it very conservative, but a problem for Buescher, can't get going out of his stall. Meanwhile, Bubba Wallace is coming down pit road as well, said the car was just a little bit tight. He told Booty Barker, let's keep this track position if we can. That's going to be the name of the game. Can you keep your car up front all day long? For 23-11, it's been a fantastic playoffs in terms of pit road. Bubba's team has been very solid after a shaky regular season. Denny Hamlin on pit road as well. Said he just couldn't go anywhere. He was right behind Kyle Larson for much of that run. Felt like the car felt like it was out of the track. Green flag stops here happening halfway through stage 1.
So much importance placed on the pit crews right now, not making mistakes. We saw the 20 with a slow stop. We saw the 23 with a great stop.
As you see, so many cars on and off pit road. A few are going to take their time coming to pit road. Cars towards the back may opt to run a little bit long, but pit road's a busy spot. You see Alex Bowman to the 48, clean right side to the left. Looks like a very clean left side, jack down and away. When they don't wait on fuel, you expect 9.5 second pit stops. That 20 pit stop was nearly 15 seconds, was running in the 12th position. We'll see where that cycles out when it all gets done with the cycle. But you mentioned it, the 23 of Bubba Wallace, clean on and clean off pit road.
Alex Bowman right now scored as race leader. Almirola, Ty Dillon, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney. As we continue to see drivers making their way onto pit road as it cycles through, Bubba Wallace will see if he is able to hold on.
Oh, big crash! Turn 3 and 4.
Hard hit for the 3 team.
The wheel came off of it You see it, or you saw it bouncing down the racetrack. There it is.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Unbelievable.
Look at driver's side. The damage to the driver's side of this one for Dillon as the first caution has come out here.
Yeah, we saw the wheel tire coming down the racetrack. That's the whole wheel off the car, Steve.
Yeah, separated from the tire.
Yeah, so a bunch of things can happen. Obviously, the wheel nut
It's like the wheels broke.
had to come off or something.
We'll talk about it, obviously.
Well, there you go. So a couple things. So we see the outside of the wheel. I can't see now at the right rear hub to see if the center of the wheel is still attached to the car. But without a doubt, the majority of the wheel has come off. So it either A, was loose, and what happens when it gets loose is it can fall onto the brake caliper, which will cut the wheel. Like it's in a lathe, like it's in a piece of machinery. It literally cuts right through it. But there's so many things that can go wrong, but it was after the pit stop, so it's got to be pretty clear it had something to do with that. This is entering 3, guys.
Watch the car behind him, Martin Truex Jr. He's going to go up the racetrack. He sees the problem. Tire wheel comes off the car, hard into the outside wall.
And that's just such a helpless feeling for the 3 of Dillon. I mean, you can't do anything. I mean, he knew something was going on, but you can't just slow the car down and stop it. You're absolutely flying down the back straightaway.
I wasn't sure if Martin got through there clean. Looking at it from a distance from the booth here as it was happening.
It's been that kind of year for Austin Dillon and this team. They just...
Well, so the question, I think, is right here. If we freeze it, I see tire, I see wheel, and if you zoom right there, I believe that is the wheel nut. That is the evidence for you. Tight wheels don't come off. Tight wheel nuts do not come off. So very confident that this is an issue post-pit stop for the 3 car. So crazy at this speed. You see all the components. You could hear the frustration. We also heard the crew chief said they would talk about it. So obviously a miscue. A good opportunity for 7 cars who had yet to come to pit road. I had mentioned some guys in the back that may try to stay out. Well, Ty Dillon, Chase Elliott. Here comes the wheel nut right there behind the car. You're going to see it come into screen. That's telestration over a moving part, Rick. That's some
Next
advanced
level.
drawing right
Next
there.
level.
I usually mess that up.
And Steve, we talk about the challenges for the drivers in this condition, but it's for everybody. And so the pit crew sits there and they sit and they sit and they wait and they wait. Car comes down pit road, and you know, obviously it's a tough job, and it's made that much tougher with these conditions.
So all of the playoff cars had serviced their vehicle except for Blaney. Now, the good news for all of those cars, they're back on the lead lap just because of how many cars stayed out and where they stayed out from. Now, for Ryan Blaney, who's now running in the 3rd position, it was a disastrous start. Car not driving great, but they were communicating about it. He was all the way back at 25th. Now he's running 3rd. He'll come down and get service. Now, all of these cars are going to lose track position to a bunch of cars that have already pitted. But, Dave, they're going to be able to make adjustments and stay on the lead lap.
Ty Dillon asked, hey, why don't we just stay out and keep everybody down a lap? And crew chief Bonamanian said, nah, that would be a net negative. So come on down, 4 Goodyear tires and fuel, and the 77 will head back out. Good run for Spire Motorsports staying out there. Kim?
Blaney needing major help on that race car. Still no rear grip. Wrecking loose, he said. 4-wheel drift, but going way more free than it is tight. So air pressure adjustment, 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. Marty?
Chase Elliott on pit road said, I'm not completely unhappy with the balance of the car. They get 4 fresh Goodyear tires. He did interestingly say, feels like the right rear has too much air in it. So the handful of cars that did not pit under the green flag cycle, pit here under caution.
So the first caution comes out of the day, and it happens here with the 3 of Austin Dillon. Wheel coming off, driver slamming into the wall, caution coming out. NASCAR Drive is your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with access to their in-car cameras and even choose some alternate camera angles. Just visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app to watch all the action. And I know there's 12 fans that are watching very closely. The race to 1 million is heating up in the NASCAR Powerball Playoff. 12 fans are locked in for a chance to win $1 million at NASCAR Championship Weekend. Follow the playoffs to see who advances and who gets cut. 122 degrees. By the way, the folks at Hunt Brothers Pizza told me that they can bake a pizza at 550 degrees. So thankfully they're not going to be anywhere near that inside these cars today. But still, it's climbing. 122 now in the cockpit there for Kevin Harvick. Kim, how about the 20? And it seems like rinse and repeat. We've had issues on pit road again.
Yeah, multiple issues during the playoffs for this team, and Dave touched on the switch for the playoffs. This used to be Ty Gibbs' crew. You know, at first glance, we thought maybe it was a tire changer issue. It was actually a jack issue. They did not get the jack all the way up on the left side, so they had to wait for the jackman to re-jack it up before they could get the tires changed on that left side. But again, multiple issues during the playoffs. This was the crew, remember, that won the Pit Crew Challenge back at the All-Star race for Ty Gibbs. They switched this team to Christopher Bell for the playoffs, and again, multiple races with issues on pit road for this pit crew.
Well, the result, the 15.6 second pit stop, 12th to 16th. So it was a lot more time than that on the racetrack, but bunching it up under yellow will make it look a little bit less painful. Ty Gibbs as well, another Joe Gibbs Racing pit crew. The other half of the 20 swap had a 21.5 second pit stop. They were 5th before, and now they're way down the running order, so all the way 28th at this point.
And Chris Buescher, he was 2nd when the whole green flag pit stop cycle started, and then he has this issue, stalling it in pit road.
Yeah, I don't know if he was waiting for that left front tire changer or it just stalled on it, but either way, he went from 2nd to 4th. So Buescher 2nd to 4th, Christopher Bell 12th to 16th. The big loser, Ty Gibbs, from inside the top 10 all the way back to 28th, Marty.
On the Ty Gibbs stop, they actually got the air hose caught on the right front side of the car. Had to go back around and unhook that to be able to finish the stop. And Buescher simply said after that stop, my bad. Sometimes that happens, right, Jeff Burton? You can stall it leaving the stall.
Yeah, you can. You don't want to make that mistake. You get by with it early in the race, but late it's going to cost you. Bubba Wallace was leading the race. He chose the inside line. That pushed Chastain to the outside.
Chastain and Kyle Busch both with good stops to give them a little better position for this restart. Chastain's going to have that second line as they go into turn 1.
Chastain with a really wide entry. Tries to draw even here. Gets up off the racetrack. We got another spin.
Almirola is around. Bowman is around.
Down, obviously down to 1 and 2. It is so slick down there. We talked about it before the race, how flat the entry is. Very low to
I don't think I have very much damage. I just hope that the tires don't rip it off.
Left side tires look to be up for Alex Bowman.
Those two are running just inside the top 20 on that restart into 1.
And building confidence in the racetrack. When we dropped the green flag on the initial start, everybody kind of tiptoed through there. Now everybody's getting confidence and racing. You see right here, looks Alex Bowman with the 42 car on the bottom.
Yeah, it looks like we're 3 wide. Hocevar just up the track a little bit. And it kind of squeezes everybody together. I'd like to see that again. I thought Hocevar might have got up a foot or so in a tight situation, but
they're running right around the 15th position there, the two of them.
Lucky there's no more cars involved in that than it was, right in the middle of the pack. Here you go, great shot.
Wide 2 rows in front.
Yeah, Hocevar's up the track just a little bit, and it just kind of upsets the 48 car, whether there was contact or whatever. You know, if you're going to make that move, it's a good aggressive move. It's a great way to make some ground up. You got to attack on these restarts. But if you're going to dive to the bottom, putting other cars 3 wide, you absolutely have to make sure you stay tight around that apron and don't put those guys in a bad situation.
And there'll be little benefit of doubt given to a rookie driver, right? A rookie driver is going to be, they're going to not like that at all. When a rookie driver pushes the issue, gets up the racetrack a little bit, they're going to put a lot of pressure on Carson. They're going, hey, man, we're not going to race like that. We'll see later in the race if they come back to have a friendly conversation.
Steve, you pointed at the screen. Who's maybe the most beneficial here who shouldn't have been there?
Yeah, that bright green 20 car, he got lucky. The 48 spun back to the left, or that could have been day ender for Christopher Bell.
NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. And by Credit One Bank, a credit card company. It's NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Texas. The Autotrader EchoPark Automotive 400. And the first car out of this race is Austin Dillon, and he is now out of the infield care center, and Dave is there.
Rick walked here under his own power. You okay, and what happened?
Yeah, we had a loose wheel. Just stinks. It's kind of been the way our year's gone. Coming off of turn 2, it's a little slick there getting up to speed, and I didn't really think it was a loose wheel, but it was really loose, which could have given me a little bit of hint, but got down in there in the 3 and 4, and you see the wheel just come off, and unfortunate, man. We'll go back to work and try and stay positive the rest of the year and try and get a win with the Bass Pro Shop team.
Thanks, Austin. See you next week.
You can hear Austin there dealing with a little bit of a head cold, a little bit concerned about whether he could run the full distance today considering the heat and how uncomfortable it would be in the car. Glad to see he's out talking to us.
Yeah, out and okay after hitting that driver's side up into the wall. We've talked about how hot it is. You really got to applaud the fans here in Texas that have come out in droves. The sun beating down on them. We've heard the temperature feeling like it's about 108 degrees out there. Ambient temperature over 100 degrees right now. But the fans out here showing their support.
Yeah, it's great to see them here. They're tough. They're tough to sit out here in this heat. Really appreciate them.
So we're going to try this again. Bubba Wallace on the inside. Ross Chastain on the outside. Kyle Busch on the inside of row 2. Chris Buescher. Prosper, Texas, Chris Buescher on the outside of row 2 as they come back to the green flag.
Oh, almost 3 wide here. Now we are. Kyle Busch to the bottom.
Inside.
Kyle backs out a little bit. Man, that was a great move by the 8 car. Might cost him here off of turn 2. He's going to be the meat and the sandwich down the back straightaway. Larson to the inside.
Yeah, sometimes you make that aggressive move and you lose momentum and it actually hurts you. Another caution out.
Spin behind you. Yellow.
And another car spinning. This time it's the 51, and so Todd Gilliland.
Another wheel off.
Yep. Todd Gilliland brings this caution out. It's caution number 3.
I had a tire come off. I can't go.
Frustration you hear in the voice of Gilliland.
Back to the pits.
Yeah, so he said he can't go. They're with the setups in these cars at some racetracks, Steve. The cars actually sit on the racetrack, and it just, you cannot get the car moving, and NASCAR will have to come and either hook up to it or push it back. Todd Gilliland driving this car. Remember, there are few races this year that Todd Gilliland gets out of his normal car that he drives. Zane Smith is in it.
Up. We want code to our pit. I'm telling them up here.
Todd's in this car. Todd is signed full-time for next year, back in his normal car.
So right there is Todd exiting turn 2. Wheel trying to come off the car as he's trying to get down the straightaway. It's on pit road, lap 39. So that one took a little while to come off.
And Steve, a wheel comes off on the racetrack. What's the penalty for this team?
Well, if they were able to continue, it's a 2-lap penalty, but the big thing is he's going to lose a couple crew members under suspension. That's been adjusted. So in pass, as you see the wheel nut bouncing off the pit wall and coming back across. So last year it was kind of a post-event penalty. They've changed it where now there's a during-event part of it as well. If the wheel stays on pit road, the penalty is much less severe. You just tail end of the longest line because they assume you're trying to do the right thing. But if you carry a loose wheel onto the racetrack and it comes off on the racetrack, that's 2 laps, and it's also a couple crew members. What's surprising about these wheels is they're right sides. We normally see left sides, like the jack gets dropped before the tire changer gets the wheel tight, but on the right side, it must be an installation issue.
And Steve, one of the other issues that they're going to have, they say, we just heard Spotter and everyone saying they wanted to be towed back to their pits, but they normally would hook to the wheels, but now when you don't have a wheel in the back, if you hook to the front, does it drag along where that wheel should have been on the back?
Oh yeah, you're going to drag some stuff off. I mean, you don't want to lose a wheel on the racetrack. It's definitely not good. The big question mark is their day over? As you see the driver out of the car, their day's over, right? They lost a wheel, but that caused them to spin out and wreck. This isn't just a flat tire situation. Their car's sitting on the frame rail, so Todd Gilliland wants to be – it's not up to the crew. There was some confusion earlier a race or two ago about Truex that he got pulled back to the garage when he wanted to come to – this isn't up to the team. NASCAR decides whether you are wrecked and you are out of the event, or if you just have a flat tire because you are avoiding a wreck. They said they would bring you back to your pit road so you could put fresh tires on it, but this isn't a team decision. You don't get to vote and say, oh, no, I still want to be in the race. That's not how this works.
Yeah, unfortunate for Gilliland. The wheel comes off, he goes around, and then is not able to get back to pit road and is out of the race.
Well, let's take a look at the Toyota virtual car and a little bit closer to the wheel and how it is supposed to be installed. So we're going to take our wheel gun, spin the nut off, and as the wheel comes off, the nut itself stays in the socket. It actually is held in there with a magnet, which is nice. So then you have two big components. You have these drive pins, which lock the wheel in place, and a locking mechanism, which holds the wheel nut on, assuming the wheel nut is installed correctly and over that locking mechanism far enough. So when the wheel gets put on, it gets turned left or right until it finds one of those pins. Then it gets pressed all the way onto the pin, and then the tire changer comes in, tightens the wheel up. Important that he tightens it all the way over the locking mechanism. In these situations, either the jack is getting dropped on the right side too soon, and the weight is on the wheel not allowing it to be tightened up, or the tire changer just isn't pulling it up far enough. Either way, wheels coming off the cars here in Texas.
2 mistakes already on pit road. The 3 and the 51 have brought out the last 2 cautions. Back underway. Bubba Wallace on the inside, Ross Chastain on the outside. Blocking taking place. Chris Buescher was stopping the 5 of Larson. Kyle Busch in the 8 on the outside of Buescher. Those 2 fighting for 3rd.
See all the blocking going on down the back straightaway. Nobody wanting to give up the bottom of the racetrack at the moment.
A little loss of momentum for Denny Hamlin. He drops back. That enables the 5 of Larson to be on the attack.
8 cars way up the racetrack right here. He's got to get out of the gas. Going to recover down the back straightaway. Thinks he might have a problem. Look at him waving.
Yeah, big hand out the window of the 8.
Right front flat, right front, right front.
Now do the people behind him know it. He's not going to try to get to pit road this time.
Running 3rd. And now he's dropped back to 5th, but Kyle Busch emphatically waving his hand out, thinking the right front was going down, but now he's back up to speed.
You have to wonder if there seriously is an issue with that car. Maybe just got up out of the groove into the dirty part of the racetrack, and it gave him a sensation like the right front tire may be going down on his car, but he settled back in, making good lap time, making good corners.
Well, Junior, you mentioned it. He was way, way up the racetrack through 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean,
he just said, now I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with it. It doesn't feel right.
Y'all remember yesterday, Justin Allgaier dominated the Xfinity race on a restart. He had a massive problem, lost a lot of track position, wasn't comfortable with the car. Maybe another issue like that where the tires just weren't clean under the caution. He gets up the racetrack, gets some debris on the tires. Seems like he's settled in now.
Yeah, you heard on the radio, went up the racetrack, the track just wasn't ready. And that's what that is. It's your tires are hot, picks up that debris, and that debris doesn't come right off. It takes a few corners to get that debris off. That'll get better as this racetrack gets run on. The more people run in that high groove, the more the track will get cleaned up.
So it sent Busch back to the 7th position. Now it's Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch, William Byron, Brad Keselowski, and Eric Jones, the top 10.
Cost Kyle a few spots, and I know that it's great he's going to be able to rebound and continue this race, but not many laps to go left in the stage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions right there given away, stage points given away for this 8 car.
Good start of the race for Ross Chastain. We haven't talked a lot about Ross lately. It's been a while since he's been in an incident on track. For a while we couldn't have a race we didn't talk about him. He's cleaned all that up, and he has recognized, and he's talked about it, he's recognized the importance of earning points, the importance of, if you can run 5th, try to run 4th. Don't try to win. Don't try to overextend yourself. You're going to have to do that from time to time, but you can't do it every race and advance yourself through these playoffs, Marty.
Jeff, 16 to go here in the stage, and Bubba Wallace is just those laps, 16 from his first playoff point of the year. Crazy to think, but talking to Booty Barker this morning, he said we need those playoff points. We need stage points as well. A much better restart that time. Bubba said, I just messed up the entry. It's a game of inches here at Texas today, Kim, no doubt about it, and also controlling the race.
Well, Marty, you mentioned it, stage points and how important they are specifically to this one team of Ross Chastain. That has kind of been their Achilles heel this season, and crew chief Phil Sturgeon told me that was the goal for this race, and it all started with qualifying. They've been working on their qualifying effort recently. It paid off this weekend. He had a 5th place starting position. He has taken advantage of that track position. He currently runs in the 2nd position, Dave, right now just building a little free on that Chevrolet.
Joey Logano was on pit road. Some adjustments can only be made by jacking up the car and getting underneath it. Obviously, when he came to pit road and that happened, the jack was in a bad spot, caused a little bit of damage on the right front of the 22 car, and they repaired that. But there's the adjustment being made. This car was very ill handling.
Yeah, Logano has not been flirting with the top 20 position since the start of this race, currently running 29th.
And whatever it is, it seems to be a Team Penske issue. Logano 29th, Cindric 25th, Blaney 24th. So those cars just don't seem to have the pace. The best of the Penske camp would technically be the Wood Brothers entry. Harrison Burton running 20th in the 21 car, so best in class at the moment.
Bubba Wallace putting a little more distance between himself and second, as Ross Chastain is about a half a second behind Bubba.
And this is what we have come to expect from the playoff cars. On your pylon, you see the yellow line underneath their name. That's not for everyone. It just looks like it is because the top 9 cars are all playoff cars. The only one in the top 10 who isn't, Eric Jones. Then just behind him, Truex and Bell. Think about that. You have, 11 playoff cars inside the top 12. Blaney's still struggling back at 24th.
Right now, Ross Chastain entering the race was the first car that was below the cut line. As he is running, he's 9 points above with the 45 of Tyler Reddick, now the first car below the cut line.
The drivers, I know we talked a lot about the heat for the guys behind the wheel, but you have to think about these pit crews. We've seen 2 wheels come off already. I know it's their responsibility to do pit stops and tighten the wheels, but the heat has got to be affecting and distracting these pit crews as well. With 10 to go in the stage, they're all going to get another shot at it here at the end of the stage.
Yeah, well, we were standing down there in the pre-race, and it is just smoking hot. You can see they're all, well, most of them are hiding in the shade. See the 11 car with a run on Larson.
Well, that was interesting. I don't know if Larson moved down on the back straightaway, almost like, hey, take the outside, take the position here. I'm going to let you go, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what he was doing, but definitely moved low on the back straightaway, and then Denny didn't really know what to do.
Was he taking Denny's line away? Had Denny been running down there?
8 car up the racetrack again.
Yep.
Way out of the groove. Still struggling, trying to figure out what's going on with that car, Dave.
But he got the same explanation that you guys were talking about in the booth.
Same thing happened to the 7 yesterday when he got up in that stuff and it wasn't ready. When he got up too high in the middle 1-2, it was crumbling and he sucked for about 3 laps. Just give it time here. We're still in a good spot.
Since then, Kyle has radioed back. The right front just feels like it doesn't have air in it. It's chattering. He's asked to hang in there for a few more laps till the end of the stage. Drivers, when you're asked to hang in there and you know there's something wrong, that's tough.
It is. He just gave up another spot back to 8th. Trying to race for them stage points, so important.
Yeah, this right now isn't how fast you can go. It's how you can keep the guy that's behind you. You know what I mean? You need to gain stage points. You don't have the pace to go up there and pass William Byron in time.
Oh, he's spinning out.
Up into the wall goes Kyle Busch. And hard contact with the back of the car. The caution comes out with under 7 laps to go in the stage.
My goodness.
He thought there was something wrong with the car. He had gone up the racetrack a few times, and now this trip up there gets him into the wall.
Yeah, huge damage on the 8 car running 8th. And this is both RCR cars in an accident. Austin Dillon had a wheel come off. The 8 car had this issue of some sort he was trying to nurse, and you saw it live from the onboard camera of Brad Keselowski. The 8 just got in there and spun around.
Remember the same car last year with Tyler Reddick driving and won the race. So Kyle Busch came into here expecting a good run. And he's going to back this thing all the way down the racetrack, Steve. He's trying to do minimal damage to the car by doing this. This is what he's thinking.
It's killed, by the way.
Backing along the apron, coming up on turn 3. And you see the safety vehicle actually chasing him.
And look at the damage. 2 things. Heavy damage, but visible damage. A year ago, Alex Bowman, this is where he backed in, said it was one of the hardest hits he's ever taken, yet the car looked brand new and he could drive it off. Changes over the offseason to the car, and not that Kyle Busch wanted to test it, but a good sign that the car did fold up and absorb some of that impact. But because of that, you see with the result. The result is a car that is severely damaged. It'll be shocking if they can keep this car going. They're going to be on the damaged vehicle policy from right now. They've entered the yellow line. 7 minutes is all they have to try to make something out of this. Now, I'm scared to say they're done, because I said that about Christopher Bell a couple months ago, and he came back and ran inside like the top 15 just to prove us all wrong. So I'm going to give this 8 crew credit. Let's see what kind of magic they can do, and it would take magic.
He needs to pull forward.
So let's take a look as he enters turn 1. The back of the car, just like it steps out right there really early. Definitely like this car was suffering some sort of an issue. And I know we tried to point to many reasons why the balance would be affected the way it was, why he may be feeling the things that he was feeling. I would absolutely, if I was Kyle Busch, want to know how much air is in that right front tire right now.
Hey, stay low. Stay low.
He was adamant that there was an issue. I would certainly want to be checking that out, but such an unfortunate ending to his day. Just as we were getting toward the end of stage 1, going to have an opportunity to come to pit road, make the adjustments on this car to get the handling better.
Yeah, that's a great point, Junior. A few more laps and he finishes the stage, and he put tires on it and go on and run the rest of the race. And instead, whatever happened, happened, and now he's in big trouble.
And this brings us to a very interesting situation, because with 5 laps to go in the stage, could you stay out and get points? Do you want to come get tires? And you see that reason forces a split decision in the field. Bubba Wallace leads a majority of the field. You see Blaney staying out. He jumps out at the last minute thinking maybe he can score some stage points.
Dave.
Kyle Larson wanted Goodyear tires. He also wanted the car to be tightened up just a little bit, Kim.
And there was debate on whether or not they should bring Ross Chastain down pit road. It was tight to fire up and then built loose, especially in turn 1, Marty.
Denny Hamlin, knowing how good their car has been in these playoffs, decides to pit here, give up the stage points. But that was an interesting decision for Bubba Wallace. A long debate on the radio. Steve, we talked about how they desperately need playoff points. Bubba told Booty Barker, I'm in for whatever wins this race. And that's it. And the 11 hit the 54 here on pit road, Rick.
Massive damage to the right side of the 11.
Huge contact. I mean, the whole right side of the 11 from jack post back. Heavy, heavy damage, and that was contact with the left front right here. Ty Gibbs, where is Ty going? I mean, Ty's in the middle of the lane. He needs to be up much higher. That is, I mean, the 11 ran into him, but the 54 needed to give him more space.
Ty Gibbs with that incident on pit road. He's backing down pit road right now as the cars are coming up on the choose. And Steve, here's a really crazy situation. You've got plenty of drivers out there that stayed out. They're choosing right now inside, outside. Martin Truex Jr. is the first car off of pit road with tires. He's 10th.
Yeah, so you have Buescher, Reddick, Byron Bell, who stayed out completely. Truex, though, he's actually the first car off pit road because he took 2 tires. So he's back there in 9th on 2 tires with a chance to maybe score some points. Blaney in 8th is hoping to just make something of this stage, which has been anything but smooth. But right behind them were all the cars you talked about. Wallace, Chastain. Lap to go, it's about stage points, but also it's about not ending your day. You want to see chaos. Wait to where there's 23, the 11, the 1. These guys are going to be right in the hornet's nest.
Yeah, you're Blaney. That's the worst case scenario. Typically, you are the last car that did not put on tires. Everybody behind you has tires, Marty.
And the damage for Denny Hamlin, he was livid, by the way, on the radio with Ty Gibbs and what happened on pit road. The damage is on the right side. And quote from Chris Gabehart, that door repair is going to be a project for us. Steering wheel is fairly straight, though, for the 11. That is the one piece of good news.
Well, the other side of the accident, not so good news. 54 of Ty Gibbs went behind the wall, some steering issues. I believe he was on the DVP. It should end his day. We'll update you after this sprint to the end of the stage.
Love this call from the 11 car, Steve. Fix it later. Try to get stage points here.
It'll be a sprint to the end of stage 1. See the damage on the right side of the 11. Again, Buescher. Reddick making up row 1. One more time around here at stage 1. Bell on the outside pushing Reddick. Reddick out front now. Down the backstretch, and Reddick pulling away. Buescher trying to get that second spot from Bell. And the smart move to win the stage is stay out. That's what Reddick has done. Buescher, Bell, Byron, all getting playoff points.
We got a spin.
Stage points.
The 19th around into turn 1. All the cars, Rick, were checking up really hard past the flag stand. And the rest of the field from behind, the second half of the field, just ran right up on the back bumper. A lot of bumper tag and chain reaction happening there.
Steve, is that because those guys who came to pit road didn't want to put any more stress on their tires?
He's got flat tires. This is going to do some damage to the bottom of this race car, Steve.
Yeah, this is definitely going to drag some very important components off the bottom of the race car.
About a 43.
Can't tell if there's damage to the nose of the 6. Let's take a look at it. So
everybody jumps out of the gas really hard. 43 hits the 6, 6 into the 19.
I don't know if Eric Jones didn't know it was the end of the stage or just...
I will be honest with you. There was a couple cars that lifted really hard. You know, unusually hard right around 10th spot. Everybody just kind of ran right up on it.
And that was riding along with the 6 that BuildSubmarines.com on board right on the bumper. Stage 1 ends, and it was total chaos at Texas Motor Speedway to start the round of 12, the second round of playoffs. And it was Tyler Reddick who got the stage 1 win, and now we're seeing guys making their way onto pit road. At least a couple came to pit road. We saw Reddick stay out, which I guess that surprises me because he stayed out to win the stage. And let's go down to Kim.
The 20 of Christopher Bell looking for a smooth stop this time. He said it fired off tight and then got loose in the run. The biggest deal, edgy in 1 and 2. Air pressure adjustment on those 4 fresh tires. Sunoco fuel. Marty.
So, Rick, you were a little struck by the cars that didn't pit, and here's why. I think we were surprised, expecting Byron to pit and Bell to pit, but Reddick and Buescher, who stayed on the racetrack, they were last on pit road at lap 38, so they can't run a whole lot further in fuel. The whole key is they must feel they can run far enough in this next stage to pit under green and then make it to the end of that stage on a tank of fuel. Road trip, Rick. They're trying to time their stops.
That's right. Get the stops just right, grab your snacks, a drink, and we'll be back for the start of stage 2. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Sonic. $2.99 Buffalo Chicken Dip Bites for limited time only at Sonic. And by Toyota. Let's go places. The end of stage 1, chaotic, and playoff drivers involved. And right there you see the 8 of Kyle Busch, his car in the garage. Dave.
And they are done, Rick. And that car that won here last year with Tyler Reddick behind the wheel. Remember we talked about how tough round 1 was for this group. This was expected to be much better, but with a situation where Kyle could feel there was something wrong with the car, was asked to tough it out to the end of the stage. He did not get there, hit the wall, and now the car is done for the day. We'll hope to talk to Kyle in a minute.
And Dave, for Denny Hamlin, he's in 7th right now. They decided not to pit. Hamlin radioed in after that little lap or so there and said, hey, the car actually tracked straight. And then Chris Gabehart said, we're going to take on some risk here and not pit because that damage is going to take a while to fix. Meanwhile, for his teammate Martin Truex Jr., they say the damage underneath the car not nearly as bad as they thought it would be. So Truex back out on the racetrack. We'll see how that car is.
This race has turned into a wild event, and it was last year as well. 16 cautions last year. That was a track record.
5 already.
Got more coming, I'm afraid.
Yeah, 5 already, and it was in the first stage to get to those 5. Stage 2 is now underway. Reddick and Buscher making up row 1. Big push from Michael McDowell in the 34 on Reddick. Buscher falling back as Michael McDowell, so strong, made the playoffs this year after winning at Indy. Wasn't able to advance to the round of 12, but definitely showing strength here at Texas early.
About the 14 of Briscoe on the outside. He just flew by the guys on the inside lane.
Bubba Wallace, we know back there with fresher tires when he gets up here. Just in front of him, car owner Denny Hamlin has that little bit of right side damage. We're still wondering how that will affect his car as Blaney side drafting as they go into turn 3 with Briscoe in the 14.
1.5 to the 23.
Denny's blocking just a little bit. 23 car Bubba Wallace right behind him down the front straightaway. Denny's like, man, y'all sort this out. Side by side right in front of him. And look out, stacking up everybody behind Denny. Larson to the top of Bubba Wallace.
And again, Blaney cannot clear Briscoe. Briscoe holding tough there on the outside as Denny Hamlin still waiting for an opportunity. And now Bubba Wallace under fire as the 5 gets by, and here comes Chastain.
He tried to block Chastain on the front straightaway there. Chastain didn't have anything to do with that. Takes the spot away, and here's Denny trying to get around the 14. Briscoe's going to hang on that outside. That's annoying when a driver does that, but Briscoe's racing hard here, trying to keep this track position. Tight side draft there for Denny Hamlin. It's going to pull him right neck and neck.
Just gave the spot up right there. So you know what? I'm done going in here side by side. I don't trust the outside lane. I have an opportunity. Let me just roll in behind him. Briscoe told me this morning that he was happy with his car in practice. Qualified, he described it as horrible. The car absolutely drove horrible, but in race trim, he felt really good about it.
It's up the racetrack right there. It's going to allow Larson to get through.
Larson so fast through the center of the turn. Closing rate was able to clear Briscoe as they exited 4.
I think Briscoe had a little issue there at the top of the racetrack. He's back to the bottom here trying to settle in.
Briscoe was taking advantage of that higher line. It's not helping him now as we see Reddick pulling away with these older tires.
Older tires and less fuel. My quick math, without all the information that they have down on pit road, I think he can run to about lap 115. You see 54 laps, but so many of those are yellow. 25 laps of yellow, that saves you a lot of fuel. You can run basically 2.5 laps of yellow to every 1 lap of green. What that math means is around lap 115, 118, I expect to see the 45 come to pit road with McDowell and Buscher all in tow at about the same time.
The gap right now, a second and a half between Reddick and McDowell.
Now 20, 25 more before green flag cycle starts.
Okay.
20 to 25 more. I feel better about my math. I appreciate that.
Confirming your numbers. And another driver who is out, would love to know what was happening on pit road. There's Ty Gibbs with Dave.
Yeah, collision with his teammate. Ty, what information were you getting and what did you see exiting pit road?
Yeah, you know, we had a really fast Monster Energy or NSA batteries, Toyota Camry. I was very happy of our speed that we gained. I was like, this is a place where I struggled, and just, you know, ran out of the room there. My fault, I guess. Very unfortunate. Just got to keep going and keep fighting. I feel like we bring really great cars to the track every week, and we'll keep working hard.
All right, thanks, Ty. Glad he's okay. He did say my fault, and that's sometimes the way it is, guys.
Yeah, unfortunate for Ty Gibbs out of the race early.
44 starts. You know, I think he does things that impress us so much we forget just how young he is in his career. I would expect him, the driver right there, that FedEx Toyota, Denny Hamlin, it'd be very important. If I was an executive, Joe Gibbs, I would just make sure we go over the video, we have a conversation. So A, there's no hard feelings, and B, Ty can learn if he needs to learn. I mean, Hamlin knows probably what he thinks he should have been doing. I think this is some good coaching from a veteran driver during the week.
If Denny can get around this 12 car, we saw him getting hassled by Larson right there. And Denny's faster than Blaney. He's going to drive to the inside. See if he can make the pass and clear down this front straightaway.
What a great call, though, by this 12 team. They were back there mid-20s, no pace whatsoever, decided to stay out, and they've hung in there pretty decent. It shows you the importance of track position and the lack of importance in new tires.
And I'm also watching the 11 to see if the damage to the right side is, you know, providing any kind of an issue balance-wise with his car. And so far, it doesn't look like it's affecting him any. So he's talking about drag there, so the body not as sleek as it once was. They may opt to put some tape or somehow smooth that surface out just a little bit. But I would not do a whole lot of work there, Steve. That's a critical area for downforce, but the way that damage looks, how it's dented in, that would be something that the teams tried to do to the cars years ago on restarts just to create an aerodynamic advantage.
I do think they could improve it, to your point, with a piece of tape, but not as much as losing track position. So the only way I would fix it if I'm Gabe Hart in this 11 team would be if I lost track position, maybe I would take a little extra time. But I don't think I would give up my track position to do it. As we see the 23 of Bubba Wallace currently in 10th. A driver out of the race. The 8 of Kyle Busch is standing by with Dave.
Yeah, Kyle, obviously in the wall there. Did you buy for even a moment that it was just debris on your tires that you were feeling?
I have no idea. Just it felt really good when we came off of pit road after that green flag stop. The car had good grip in it. And then we had those couple of yellows back to back, and I restarted on the outside, and I felt like I had a flat right front. Was going to come to pit road, and I second guessed it and said, I don't think so, man. It's just something's wrong. Something's not right, but it's not a flat. And just all on its own, just turned into the bottom of the racetrack in turn one and just swapped ends on me. So that's the rear, not the front, not having grip, you know? So I just don't know. But I hate it for everybody on this 3G Chevrolet. I felt like our car was for sure a top 5, top 10 car today. And it seems like every time I try, something happens. I crash or whatever. And not right there. I just said it 2 laps before that I got up in the high side and I was like, you know what, I just need to just stop and just run the bottom, just make laps here, finish this stage, and it swaps end on me. So I don't know what to do. Somebody wants to tell me what to do, I'm all ears.
Well, I do know that Kyle Petty and Brad Doherty in the pre-race show thought that Kyle Busch would be out after this round. I don't think they thought he was going to be involved in an accident, but that was almost prophetic, seeing or hearing those two guys mention that in the pre-race show today.
And he was just, you could hear a lot of bewilderment, just didn't know. As now you see the 23 with a nice move of the 14. Now he has Eric Jones to his inside.
Good battle right here. Eric Jones and his team continue to impress. They have done a really nice job the last several months. No changes at that team, just using their tools better, bringing more speed to the racetrack.
Bubba Wallace, who gave up the track position at the toward the end of stage 1, still not able to really move forward through this field.
Yeah, has not had the speed he had to start the race, where he was out front for 69 laps. And now Bubba Wallace running in the 10th position. It's Reddick and McDowell up front at Texas. Still 62 to go in stage 2.
Advance? In Advance Auto Parts. I need that die-hard power. And the reliability and rugged durability, right? Yes. That's why diehards choose Die Hard.
And Advance Auto Parts is the home of Die Hard. We'll even install yours for free. Yeah.
Hey. Abuela? She makes the best tamales.
This is how we advance.
Right now at Ashley, pay 0% interest for 5 years on top mattress brands like Tempur-Pedic starting at $37 per month, Purple starting at $39 per month, and learn how to save up to $300 on your furniture purchase. Only at Ashley.
Nice footwork. Man, you're lucky. Watching live sports never used to be this easy. Now you can stream all your games like it's nothing.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, here he comes. Go! Yeah! Running up and down that field looks tough.
It's a pitch.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
Some days, I don't have time to slow down. So sipping on coffee just isn't an option. That's when I turn to 5-Hour Energy. It's my 5-second coffee. Discover 5-Hour Energy.
Get crafts, sporting goods, restaurants, and the future of NASCAR all from your neighborhood. DoorDash.
Home. It's where the heart is. Home is where we keep our most precious memories. Home is where the party starts early and ends with a bang. Home is where the kids play, and the big kids too. Home is where you let loose with a pre-race concert featuring Riley Green.
Bring it home.
Bank of America Rovo 400, Sunday, October 8th. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com. Welcome home.
Tonight from Las Vegas, TJ Watt and the Steelers face Jimmy Garoppolo and the Raiders. Coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America on NBC and Peacock. By the way, it's only about 80 degrees in Vegas right now compared to the over 100-degree temperature that these guys are dealing with out on the racetrack. 57 laps, now 56 to go in stage 2 out front. It's Tyler Reddick. We know he's got to come to pit road a little bit sooner than everybody else. He has stayed out to win stage 1, and now he'll have to come to pit road here for fuel here shortly.
Well, and I don't know if it'll be sooner than everyone else, because when the leader comes and bolts on 4 fresh tires, you have to ask yourself how long you're willing to stay out. Some probably will, Rick, to your point, but I think some are probably going to jump in the canoe with them and come to pit road just afraid to lose too much time to the leader.
Again, Tyler Reddick with a 2.0
Wow,
as we see a spin with Corey LaJoie. And the caution will come out here. 55 to go, Steve. They're in their window. Everybody comes?
Yeah, everybody comes. There's a right rear tire down on the 7 car. I don't know if that was the cause of the accident or the result of the accident.
And there went the carcass.
Oh, wow.
Hit the wall, he said.
Well, if you ever want to see what a right rear crush panel looks like on a new next-gen car, you just got to see one.
And a lot more damage being done. That tire ripping away at the body, as well as some of those parts. He mentioned the wheel hub.
Talked all day about 1 and 2 being slicks, like Corey's just out of the groove. Again, don't know if the tire went down and that's why he was there, or if it went down through this slide. You see it popped right there.
That's exactly right, Jeff. I saw the same thing. So it looks up, and then there's the right rear going flat. So that tells me that it wasn't a flat tire that caused him to spin.
There's a second groove that you can find good speed in, but right outside of that, it's almost shiny, the racetrack, up in the 3rd, 4th groove, and the drivers tell you that's nowhere you want to be. Zero grip.
Look at this car. It is ripped to the right rear quarter panel. Steve, you mentioned all the crush panels ripped out of it. Tires probably wrapped around inside of there. It just does all kinds of damage. That thing's whipping around. That rubber's heavy.
What about like brake lines and things? Is it going to grab that as well?
You name it. You name it. If it's in there, it can grab it.
There was a race here, and they had Elliott Sadler blew a tire, left rear tire, on the front straightaway driving for the Wood brothers, and the tire whipped around and caught him in the shoulder. It was, and I remember him getting out of the car in the garage area. Looked like he was on fire. He was in so much pain from that. So it can do a lot of damage and even get inside the cockpit of the car at times.
And this also is a concern, just making sure that he's not, you know, if they do get it back on track, that he's not exposed to fumes, etc.
Yeah, they mentioned the wheel tub coming out, which is one of the interior parts around that wheel.
This kind of presents an interesting opportunity for the rest of the field. 53 to go. Everybody's going to be coming to pit road, but what you do on pit road is going to be different for each guy. Reddick needs quite a bit of fuel, so it's going to be 4 tires for sure. They might even need to wait on fuel because they're probably going to need 17-ish gallons. Marty, what are you hearing about the 11?
Boy, Steve, you got to give a tip of the cap to Chris Gabehart to leave his driver, Denny Hamlin, on the racetrack with all of that right side damage right there. And even with that, he was turning top 3 lap times out there. The gamble paid off. Hamlin sits in second, and now after these stops, should be on par with everybody else in terms of the stops, Kim.
And on this end of pit road, William Byron making a stop. He actually had a vibration that started at lap 96. They did feel like they got the lugs all tight. He just reporting a tight condition for Christopher Bell. They were calling Burger King. That was going to be their play here. So Burger King for the 20 of Christopher Bell.
Well, Bell's back in 25th after pitting. Remember, at the end of the stage, we saw Reddick stay out, Bell and Byron come to pit road. So here's the situation. Forget tires for a minute. Let's just talk about how much fuel you need. Reddick needs a lot. He was last on pit road at lap 38, so that means he's going to be sitting in his pit stall for quite some time putting fuel in his car. If you're Byron, you pitted, you restarted in the mid-20s, guess what? You're still in the mid-20s. You're going nowhere. I'm sure the car is as good as it was when it was up front. So will they try gas only? Will they try 2 tires? I think you're going to see a real myriad of opportunity up and down pit road. We're going to see long pit stops. It wouldn't shock me if Reddick, McDowell and Buscher lose some track position with slow stops, but that's not the pit crew's fault. That's purely the amount of fuel they need. I say all this because we saw the 11 and 54 already hit each other. You wait until you get gases and 2 tires and 4 tires and get all the timing off. Leaving pit road could be even more of a challenge for the rest of these playoff cars.
And pit road was closed there, Steve, so they're making them go around one more time, which is interesting. Debris on the racetrack, but the 7 had come to pit road, fixed and put the tire on, and then went back out.
Yeah,
Looks like at the opening here, maybe some debris.
Yeah, I still some debris on the racetrack, and I think one thing you got to be careful of, you know, there's still a ton of race cars, 31 of them on the lead lap, so you're going to have a full pit road. It's very easy to have. We just saw it. Ty Gibbs had contact. You've got to be careful getting on and off pit road here.
Well, what I'll add is I agree that the 11 Junior, you and I had the conversation. We heard Marty report they ran that 1 lap to kind of check how their car was. They liked it, so they stayed out. But now the interesting part is I don't think there's a lot of damage, but I think the right side jack post is okay. That would be the only thing, I guess, that we haven't talked about. But, you know, if the right side jack post has an issue, that's really the only thing we don't know about this 11 car. I would probably have a conversation with my jack man just to make sure he takes an extra 1 or 2/10 of a second to make sure everything he's jacking against is securely fastened to the car.
And they kept pit road closed again as we take a look. Bubba Wallace on pole for the start of this race. If you look at the playoff driver issues, 20 a slow stop. They don't get the jack up on the left side.
Well, it starts with a slow pit stop for the 20. That cost him time on the racetrack and then issues on the racetrack. The 8 of Kyle Busch in the middle of 1 and 2 spins out. Really all on his own, heavy damage out of the race.
4 problems on pit road. Teammates making contact. 54 coming down pit road. Denny exits. Contact right there. Damage to Denny's car. The 54 of Ty Gibbs is out of the race. So you see that damage right now Denny's dealing with.
Yeah, then the stage end comes. Everybody slows down. Well, not everybody. Some people slowed down. The others didn't. Martin Truex got turned around. A little bit of damage to the diffuser. Doesn't seem to be too bad. Still has decent pace.
Now with 51 laps to go, what I've seen is that, there are good and bad cars, but cars that cycle to the front have the opportunity to kind of stay there. So, whatever your plan A, B, C was coming in on pit road, I'm really looking at, okay, minimal time on pit road, best way to kind of manage the fuel. So it looks like pit road is green, the best I can tell the light.
Yep, it's open now.
So here we go. I expect everyone to pit because this is a window to the end of the stage, but it'll be a variety of choices. Dave.
Kyle Larson last pitted on lap 76, so he may have the 2-tire option, although we see 4 waiting there for him. They're going to free him up a little bit. As for Tyler Reddick, they're going to put 4 Goodyear tires on there, give him a little adjustment as well. He's got to watch out for Chase Briscoe running 14th, who'll pit around him.
Dave, speaking of that right side damage for Denny Hamlin, he said the car is definitely hurt, but honestly, no handling complaints, which is just crazy to think with all of that damage right there. A lot of teams making some calls here on pit road. Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, and Bubba Wallace among them. 4 tires and fuel, though, for Hamlin, and no changes, incredibly, to that car.
As many cars that were on pit road, it looks as though the chaos wasn't the topic there at that time coming off. Well, heavy hearts this week for all the NASCAR family as we lost Sherry Pollux a week ago. And when you talk about people in the world making a difference, Sherry Pollux did just that. She was a longtime partner of Martin Truex Jr. She helped start the Martin Truex Jr. Foundation as well as Sherry Strong. They raised over $10 million helping childhood cancers and ovarian cancer. Always trying to help others is what Sherry Pollux was doing. Sherry was 44 years old. The official app of NASCAR Tracks has the latest race and event information from your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store to download for free. You can start using that today. NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Texas. Autotrader, AutoPark, Automotive, 400.
Circled that 124, which is a solid, 60 degrees more than I would want it there. But once it gets over 100, I mean, it's just hot. Like, it's just got to be miserably hot for these guys riding around under yellow.
Yeah, Hunt Brothers giving us that opportunity to see just how hot it is inside of Kevin Harvick's car. Kevin retiring at the end of the year. I'm sure that he won't miss being inside of a 124-degree car when he's up in the booth calling races.
NASCAR's done a really good job. I mean, that would typically be 140, 150-degree temperature day inside the cars, but this next-gen cars had a lot of improvements.
See the variety of tires on the left side of your screen. 38 at Zane Smith was caught speeding, so he'll have to be at the tail of the field.
Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney, buddies off the track, make up row 1. As back to racing for 47 to go still in stage 2. Bubba Wallace looking very strong as it's 3 wide behind him. Denny Hamlin now trying to fight off Daniel Suarez.
Well, the 5 car slides up across the racetrack, loses the nose, up off the corner.
Suarez right there in that 99 car, the orange car. He just immediately went to the bottom, and when he did, it took the air off of the 11 car. He lost the bottom, and that allowed Larson to get underneath him.
Larson had an opportunity to run the 11 a little bit higher out of that turn. He didn't.
Wouldn't be surprised. Here he goes right here up the racetrack. Almost contact, and he has to get out of the gas.
Hey, Larson just saying, hey, this is my spot. I am not going to give it up.
He was treated differently when the 11 was on the inside of him, so I think he was saying, here's the way I'm going to race you now.
Look at everything that is created behind them. Got all these cars here moving around, trying to regain all their momentum, having to lift. Carson Hocevar lost a few spots there during all that.
Teammate Eric Jones going to the outside of him, 42-43 side by side.
He's been making that outside line work since the restart, gaining several positions as Eric Jones, and back up front, Denny Hamlin, the 9, to Chase Elliott battle down into turn 1.
Coke Zero Sugar showing this vantage point from off the spoiler. Here comes Eric Jones, the man on the move, as he goes by the 19 of Martin Truex Jr.
And they're just turning in sideways, goes into 1.
That was Martin Truex on the radio, Rick. So, Jeff, has that ever caught you off guard? Said Truex said, I had no idea that was coming. Turned dead sideways going into turn 1.
More times than I care to remember. Yeah, that's just, driving a race car. You just don't know what's going to happen. You're trying to push the edge every corner, and sometimes it just doesn't stick.
Martin Truex Jr. being chased by Ross Chastain. Hamlin back to 6th now. Alex Bowman in the Ally 48 on the inside of Ryan Preece in that 41. The fight for 4th here as Larson has been running very quickly through the center of the turn. We'll see if he goes down to the bottom again. Looks like he might stay behind that 99.
He ran the high side 1 and 2 that created that opportunity for him to almost have a run on the back straightaway back to the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see what he does down here. Denny Hamlin's trying to regroup, gain back ground on this 5 car. I think it's a race for the win between these 2 cars. They seem to be the best in the field. There's Larson to the top of the racetrack. Back to the throttle, slowly gaining on the 99 on corner exit.
Did I just hear you count out Bubba Wallace?
Bubba's leading this race, but just looking at these 2 cars right here, Rick, lap times that they've been running, I really like what I'm seeing out of the 11 and the 5. And whoever has track position on one or the other, I think we might see these 2 toward the front at the end of the day. So they're racing right now, in my opinion, for more, kind of control over this race between the 2 of them.
Right now, those 2 are running 5th and 6th. Larson and Hamlin running 5th and 6th. Kim?
And for Daniel Suarez running in the 4th position, remember they did the tire test here at Texas, and crew chief Travis Mack told me they felt like they got a lot of good information, that they came in here with a baseline, so much so that a top 5 finish was what they were looking for here today. Right now, though, Daniel said they just need to be a little bit better on the long run. The rear of that car just starting to get light as the laps click off.
5 car slides up the racetrack. Got tight behind that 99 on the bottom. Denny's not able to do anything with it. Now quickly back to the gas in the middle of this corner. Right to the back bumper. Can he upset the arrow on the 5? He can't do it. It's a game of chess right here. While this 99 car creates some dirty air for both cars, it creates opportunity for us to see this incredible battle between the 2 guys and how they navigate, trying to get around each other and that 99 to move forward.
2 car lengths right now separating the 5 and 11.
Way behind this battle up in the top 5 is Tyler Reddick. He has had a terrible restart. He's lost 9 spots. And he is struggling with his race car. Listen to what they're talking about.
Talk to us if you got a problem here. Duck find the slowest on the racetrack. Copy. You are clear here.
So is that heat, the frustration kicking in now for Reddick? Dave.
Rick, he got stuck, I believe, at one point behind the 20 of Christopher Bell, who we know did not take tires on that run. I don't know if that's who he was talking about, but that was one of the things that his team told him, don't get stuck behind him. He didn't take fresh tires.
Going to the outside of the 10 of Eric Almirola. Again, Reddick now running in the 24th position. So after seeing him win stage 1, fighting to get back in the top 20 here in stage 2. 35 laps still to go in stage 2.
This 5 car still trying to get around the 99 of Daniel Suarez. Got a great run right here. He got right to the back bumper in turn 3 the lap before, but Daniel shut the door. Here they are again. Now finally through is Larson.
Larson clears Suarez. Puts him up into the 4th position.
Be nice to see what kind of lap time now the 5 can run before he catches the next group of cars in front. Wallace is out front running a 30 flat. Larson that lap ran a 29.91, passing a car.
Dave, what about Larson?
You saw that line he was choosing there wasn't exactly the high line, just kind of feeling it up there, and a few laps ago had this discussion.
Anybody moving around yet?
You. Mostly just you. There's a few others that, in seeing you do that have moved up some.
Okay.
So as we always hear about Kyle being the first one to try it, Cliff Daniels telling him, you're the only guy doing it. So basically, it's up to him when he feels like he should go up there, Marty.
Okay, time for the Toyota driver update with Denny Hamlin, who is now going to try to get past Daniel Suarez for that 5th position. I think Junior is exactly right. The 11 and the 5 know, hey, this could be the battle for the win. That's why they're fighting each other so hard. In fact, Chris Lambert, Denny Hamlin's spotter, said a couple of times they're kind of surprised at how aggressively Larson tries to kill any momentum Denny Hamlin builds. It's going to be a track position game today. So, Steve, if you're, Cliff Daniels or you're the crew chief for Denny Hamlin, Chris Gabehart, how do you get your driver track position when you're on the back half of the top 5?
Well, I think at this point you have to just decide how much risk you're willing to take, because 4 tires is definitely better than 2. That's why we see Denny Hamlin moving up, but they're just not good enough to go run down Bubba Wallace, who's now stretched out to a nearly 4-second lead.
We passed that guy.
That's the 11 car crew chief right there.
I mean, there's still a lot. We talk a lot, but we just passed halfway. So there's a lot of races, a lot of laps left in this race to make good and bad decisions, as we see a big block by Blaney.
Yeah. Big run there by Larson as he was able to clear Keselowski, but his momentum stopped when he got to the back bumper of the 12.
Thought he was going to get 2 spots right there on the back straightaway, but Blaney took the line away into 3. This allowed Denny Hamlin to run right up on the back bumper of the 6 car. Denny to the high side of the racetrack, trying to create a run here.
And that's what we see the 5 doing as well, running that higher line, getting a little momentum, and then figuring out exactly the right time to make the passes. It has been a big day already for Bubba Wallace. After starting on pole, he's led 89 laps today. That is a career high for the driver of the 23.
Advance?
In Advance Auto Parts.
I need that die-hard power.
And the reliability and rugged durability, right?
Yes.
That's why diehards choose Die Hard.
And Advance Auto Parts is the home of Die Hard. We'll even install yours for free.
Hey. Abuela? She makes the best tamales.
This is how we advance.
Nice footwork. Man, you're lucky. Watching live sports never used to be this easy. Now you can stream all your games like it's nothing.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, here he comes. Go!
Running up and down that field looks tough.
It's a pitch.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
Right now at Ashley, pay 0% interest for 5 years on top mattress brands like Tempur-Pedic starting at $37 per month, Purple starting at $39 per month, and learn how to save up to $300 on your furniture purchase. Only at Ashley.
Come on, Charlie!
Get crafts, sporting goods, restaurants, and the future of NASCAR all from your neighborhood. DoorDash.
It's the wildest ride in racing. Talladega. Too fast since the day it opened. This 200-mile-per-hour, nose-to-tail, 5-wide parade demands absolute perfection.
Winner, chicken dinner, baby.
Anything less, you might find yourself right in the middle of the big one.
They make more contact. Big crash.
I can't believe what I just saw.
NASCAR playoffs continue at Talladega on NBC.
I am risen.
I'm your friend to the end. I love it. I'm ready to party.
Binge the first 2 seasons of Chucky now.
Kill them all. Any questions?
Before season 3 premieres.
God bless America.
Chucky. Stream the series from the beginning now on Peacock. New season premieres October 4th.
Kyle Larson has chased down and caught the 23 of Bubba Wallace. Can he get by him now is the question. He is definitely the fastest car out here right now. Larson has closed the gap to under 0.2 of a second. After restarting in the 7th position, Larson now looking to take the lead away here at Texas. He goes with the high move again. This is what we saw before. He's going to pass him on the outside.
Look how much speed and grip that car has. The high line of the racetrack. It's really impressive. Denny Hamlin has now gotten into third position around Blaney. It's been a little bit of a slower process for the 11 to get through this lap this traffic, this top 5 traffic. I'm impressed, I think, more by how quickly the 5 car did that and then chased down the leader. So right now the score is Larson 1, Denny. Still waiting on his car to come around. I wonder if that balance or that damage is affected by the balance. As you see the 43, we talked about Eric Jones, how good he has been today, and he's now driven up into 4th place around Blaney.
Yeah, Blaney has not. He's got a ton of laps on his left side tires. It's a battle of track position, Steve. They don't have the fastest car, but they're just doing whatever they got to do to put this car in clean air.
Whatever the least amount of time on pit road you can get away with. Now, the caveat to that is the driver has to make it happen on restart, because if you're the last guy on either the oldest tires or on whatever the aggressive strategy could be, and new tires can kind of get you out of line, and you can give it all back on one restart.
All right, let's do a playoff driver through the field, brought to you by eBay. We'll start up front with Kyle Larson and Dave Burns.
Rick, you look at all that speed that the 5 car has now. He just passed the pole-sitting car of Bubba Wallace. Remember, Kyle qualified 11th. I asked his crew chief, Cliff Daniels, this morning if he had any concerns about that. He said, none at all. You have to be perfect in qualifying. We weren't, but I don't have any worries about the race. We'll get there, Marty.
So, Dave, on that last stop, when Booty Barker asked Bubba Wallace what he wanted to do, he said, whatever gets me my track position back. He had the car out front, and when he's out front, it's so different than when he's back in traffic. He said, when I'm in traffic, it just does not handle, can't defend, can't attack. Meanwhile, it's been fun, like Junior was talking about, to watch Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin try to work their way through the field with those 4 fresher tires. Hamlin saying the car a little bit tight, trying to go around the car that he owns in Bubba Wallace for second, Kim.
Well, Marty, track position is the buzzword here today, because for Blaney, that's what he told his team before that last stop. Track position is so big, that's what I need. I do feel like the track is starting to widen out, though. They took 2 tires to get some of that track position. Blaney has 5 straight finishes of 8th or better here, looking to continue that streak right now. Just a little tight, Marty.
Kim, it's crazy to think that Chris Buescher from Texas led his first ever laps in the Cup Series here at the Texas Motor Speedway today. He's led 2, and he's never finished better than 15th here. Scott Graves told me we have the best car we've ever had, but back here in traffic, Buescher singing the same song everybody else is. They are saying they're way too tight, Rick.
Things heating up again up front as we see Bubba Wallace. He slowed the 11 down. That allowed the 43 of Eric Jones to catch up there. And now Eric Jones seems to be one of the faster cars on track.
Is the speed dropping out of this 23 concerning, Steve? I mean, I know they're down on tires just a little bit, but looks like the balance going away on the long run for Bubba.
Well, I do agree.
Front brake to help get into 1.
Get a little bit of coaching from Booty Barker on top of the pit box. I think some of it is probably the 2 tires, and some of it is what you said earlier, right? You would take Larson and Hamlin as the battle for the win. You saw the speed even when they were back in traffic, so I think that's real, because if you look right here at the 24 of William Byron, he took 4 tires. He's up to 18th. Bell on gas only in 21st, so tires are a small advantage, but I do believe that the 23 just doesn't have quite the pace of the front 3 cars.
So it's Larson, Hamlin, Eric Jones, the top 3. As we see Ryan Preece and the 4 of Kevin Harvick fighting, 2 cars out of the Stewart-Haas stables.
Stewart-Haas, not the year they wanted to have, trying to rebuild for next year, bring more speed. See a battle right here, Chase Elliott.
I spent some time with Chase Elliott this morning, and he was trying to be positive, but had nothing positive to say about Texas. Told me that the best run he ever had here was his first Xfinity Series race. He's wrecked on his own. He's got caught up in other people's issues. He's had flat tires, so wasn't super positive on the day, as now we see the 19 trying to be defensive against the 16 of Allmendinger.
Yeah, he tried to get to the inside of the 99 down in turn 3. Suarez shut the door. 19 had to jump way out of the gas, and now it's got him racing side by side here with the 16 car off turn 2.
And A.J. Allmendinger has raced in the top 15 all day today. Just has quietly run in the top 15, and we see him scooting away from the 19 there of Martin Truex Jr. as he closes in on the 99 of Suarez.
Yeah, no word yet on what Allmendinger's doing next year. He said he would be back with this team, but didn't know if he would be in the Xfinity Series or in the Cup Series. It's going to be interesting to see what AJ does do. Big loose right there. Saw the back of the car wiggle big time. Look at all the pace it lost. He had to come completely out of the gas, and that allowed Truex to get a big run.
Michael McDowell right there behind Allmendinger. Again, very strong mid-race. Michael McDowell now has fallen back just a bit, running in the 13th position.
Oh.
He has up the racetrack goes Allmendinger.
Allmendinger is hanging over that race car. We saw it loose. He got the lap before, and then right there he drove in the corner and just went straight up the racetrack in front of McDowell.
Fight for second as Jones really right on his back bumper.
I'm telling you, this Legacy Motor Club has really found something. I don't know what it is, but it has been consistent the last few weeks. You look at Eric Jones, it really started at Darlington with a third, or excuse me, Darlington with a 10th, which I don't think any of us were shocked at. Right. The guy's won a couple Southern 500s, but then third at Kansas. I know 24th at Bristol isn't what you want, but the last two high-speed tracks, they had speed and drivers. Here they are again. This 43 looks really comfortable.
Not only that, but Carson Hocefer's running 13th. You know, his teammate, and he only has a few races under his belt. So, good race cars.
Again, stage points available 10 laps from now as we come to the end of this stage, Marty.
And Rick, let's put into context what Legacy Motor Club is going through, who Eric Jones drives for. Remember, they have lost their Chevrolet affiliation because they're moving to Toyota next year. So that information pipeline really got shut off mid-year. Dave Ellens, the crew chief for Eric Jones, told me we've had to kind of reinvent everything. But what we focused on, Stevie said, is the tracks we know Eric is good. That's what we pay a lot of attention to. Darlington, a great example. Texas as well. Eric's always been good here at Texas, so they put a lot of emphasis on this race, and it's showing today.
Chevy might want to turn the pipeline back on to see what spills back their way. Don't get me wrong, Larson's in a Chevrolet, 5 seconds out in front. But
yeah, and that I was going to mention that too, because Larson and Hamlin, remember, those two were running nose to tail, and now Larson has a 5-second advantage over Denny Hamlin as we're coming to the close of this stage.
Let's not forget, Kyle Larson's average finish in the first 3 races was 2.3.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
So I know Hamlin won at Bristol, had a chance to win every race, but Kyle Larson, you know, their performance matched the time of year. It was time to step up. I felt like they did early in the playoffs.
7 to go in stage 2.
Bubba Wallace really battling to try to score as many stage points as possible. Gets a little shot from the 9 car.
He just lost a position to the 12. They kind of ran each other a little wide up in turn 3 and 4, and that cost him some momentum. And now he's struggling to try to hold off the 17. Buscher's been kind of climbing through this top 10 a little bit.
Buscher up to 7th.
Bubba was very hard on himself in the media center about stages. He said, every time I have a chance to run good in the stage, he blamed it on himself, said he chokes. Well, it was pit strategy that took him out of the lead on the first stages. Now he's under attack from Buscher. Now it's 2 tires and a failing race car. Handling looks like it's going away. Now he's trying to score as many points as he can, but continues to come under fire.
Inside of 6 to go. As Larson continues to set a blistering pace, 5.8 seconds now the gap back to Hamlin. Remember, playoff drivers trying to gain as many points as possible, and if Larson can stay up front, as we see once again, Bubba Wallace under attack now from Chase Elliott. But if Larson stays up front, wins the stage, that's another playoff point that is available to him that he can carry on to the next round. As we see, Jones has now cleared the 11 of Hamlin.
Then he finally says, man, who is this guy? What is this silver car behind me?
Like the great ghost. I don't know who this is back here.
He's going to get to watch it a few corners.
David Pearson.
We'll work on it, big picture.
So Eric Jones up to 2nd now.
Oh, he's up the track. They've really moved that groove up in turn 1 and 2. Really impressed by how this track's widened out. As treacherous as it was when we first got here, everybody's spinning off the racetrack and into the wall if they got outside the bottom groove, and now we've really widened the track out.
Under 3 laps to go in stage 2. It's Larson, Jones, Hamlin, Blaney, Buscher. Hamlin, Blaney, Buscher, all playoff drivers, and Chase Elliott running 6th, non-playoff driver. Bubba Wallace, Keselowski, Chastain, all playoff drivers in the top 10, and Suarez rounding out that top 10 spot. Here's Chastain looking to the inside now of the 23. Marty.
Bubba Wallace trying to hang on for some stage points here. Saying the car has gotten way too free. And Stevie said especially is in 1 and 2. Remember earlier in the day it was baked in sunshine. Now it's shaded over in 1 and 2. So I'm wondering if the track is changing here at Texas more than anything.
Well, for sure, I think the track is changing. As Dale pointed out, it's also widening out, which is allowing other guys to attack that corner differently. That wider groove has definitely not matched up with the 23 and what they need.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace has fallen back. He's running 9th right now. He said trying to hang on to it to get to the end of the stage. On the final lap now for Larson, as Keselowski, we saw him running in the 7th spot. Larson with over a 6-second advantage on Eric Jones, and looking for another stage win. He entered the playoffs with 17 playoff points, has now added 7 since they started. That's including that win at Darlington to kick things off, but he wins stage 2 here at Texas. We see Jones, Denny Hamlin. It's going to be Blaney, Buescher, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Ross Chastain. Bubba Wallace is going to hang on for a 9th place finish in stage 2, and Daniel Suarez rounding out the top 10. So now it will go back into the hands of the crews. They will be put to work as the chaos has happened on pit road. We'll see how clean it can be this time around. Since 1927, the Ryder Cup has pitted America's best golfers against Europe's elite. Can the U.S. team defend the trophy? The Ryder Cup from Rome, Italy, next weekend on NBC, USA, and Peacock. And Steve, we love the fact that it's in Europe because it's 6 hours ahead.
Well, now hold on. I don't want to say I love that it's not in the U.S., but I do love the 6 hours ahead. A little coffee and a little golf. Dave.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson was about 6 hours ahead at the end of that stage, wins it. He needs a little adjustment for what's going on in 3 and 4, but he loves 1 and 2. 4 tires, Kim.
They told Ryan Blaney, great job on that run. He earned some valuable stage points. Ryan said he's free on entry and exit. He said, I really want to run higher in 3 and 4, but that bump, man, it is so rough for me in this car. 4 tires, air pressure, Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Denny Hamlin hoping to keep up a little better with Kyle Larson on this run and not have him be 6 hours ahead. He said the car migrated free on the exit of turn 2 and all the way through 3 and 4. Hamlin's team with a nice stop, pretty much 4 tires all the way up and down pit road, Rick.
Well, and you look, the top 5 were able to hold their positions. A couple guys gaining spots, Keselowski, Wallace, and McDowell. We go back 16 years to California when it was 110 degrees. Then Vegas has had some hot races. 101 back in 18, 19 was 100, 2020 was 100. Well, today in Texas, it's 101 degrees. So the recent races with a lot of heats, Kim.
And for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., his answer to the physical demands of this race are a little bit different. He does not want a cool suit. There are too many things, he said, that can go wrong. He would rather put the training on himself, out of the car and away from the track to get his body ready for the grueling 400 miles here at Texas. He does extremely rigorous training. This week specifically, he did cardio every single day, including a 4-mile trail run, Dave, and high-intensity strength training 3 days. Mike Kelly noted he is an absolute beast.
He's a better man than I am, Kim. Noting that the shade is over the track right now. When the sun was out, the difference on the pavement between the shade and the sun was about 8 degrees. In the sunshine, 122. In the shade, 114. So you know where the crews hang out between pit stops, Marty. That's my idea, too.
Yeah, there you go. Find some shade, Dave. We always talk about the drivers and the crews. I'm going to give a shout out to the spotters. Look at that. They are standing up there, no tents above their head. There is no shade that Dave's going to go find right now. And they're also standing on an aluminum platform. One of the spotters told me, Drew Herring, who spots for Martin Truex Jr., It's about 125 degrees up there, and they're up there for hours. And remember, most of them, Rick, yesterday spotted the Xfinity Series race. It was so hot yesterday, all their equipment started shutting down. They had no scoring for a while, but the spotters definitely deserve a shout out on top of the roof.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to our crew as well. I mean, the camera operators and everybody out there dealing with this weather. It has been tough.
A couple drivers having issue. The one of Chastain stumbled leaving his pit stall, actually stalled the car, came in 8th, now running outside the top 25. The 31 of Justin Haley, equipment interference, so he also has a penalty, tail end.
Final stage is underway. Kyle Larson trying to hold off the 43 of Jones.
3 wide. Back in row 3 and row 4 and row 5. Restarts are going to get really interesting now in this final stage.
Fight for the lead continues as Larson now surging ahead of that 43. And here comes the 11. Hamlin. Will he try to attack the 43 and take second away here?
They're going to get a big run on this 5 down the front straightaway.
.95 laps remaining in the race. Chris Buescher to the inside of Chase Elliott. Again, Buescher just up the road in Prosper, Texas.
See, Buescher's trusting that second lane even early in a run. Getting to the outside of the 9 of Chase Elliott.
Yeah, he gets out there. That was impressive. Clears him down into turn 3. Goes to the bottom of the racetrack, takes the air away.
Ross Chastain, a little bit longer stop, Kim.
That's right. Before that stop, he described the car as stumbling a bit, so they worked through a diagnostic list before they even made that stop on pit road. Crew Chief Phil Surgeon told Ross on the radio they think the throttle position sensor is bad, and they told him it won't necessarily hurt you, but it's not going to make things easy on you today. So, Steve, if you hear that, a throttle position sensor being dead, what does that mean for the driver, and how can the crew talk him through the rest of these 93 laps?
Well, as he slides up a little bit, the 77 of Ty Dillon underneath the 1 car. Throttle position sensor. So not only tells our data here when you show the fans at home how much throttle he's on, it's also telling remember, these engines are electronically controlled, so it's telling the engine how much throttle he's actually using. So it's all part of the diagnostics, all part about the air-fuel mixture on the 1. So that throttle position sensor might make it stumble, leaving on the restarts, stumble also on pit road, and that's what happened to the 1. So the 1 had an okay pit stop. They dropped the jack, and it kind of just quits, doesn't really go. I don't think this is Ross Chastain, misusing the clutch, not spinning the rear tires. I think this is part of that throttle position sensor going bad. Probably the engine stumbled and got a little confused.
Yeah, what concerns me about that, Steve, is how the engine responds to it when he's accelerating, right? Wide open throttle, probably he's fine, but is he going to have to drive the car a little bit differently as he goes to the throttle slowly? That's something that he may have to make some adjustments inside the car.
Sorry, guys, I was just going to say, we talk a lot about the heat. One driver this weekend attempted to run both races. That's the 15 of J.J. Yaley. He was involved in an accident yesterday, so he ran at 183 of the 200 laps, but here he is 177 laps in, north of 100 degrees 2 days in a row, 46 years old, still in great shape. Maybe it's from being out there in the desert, Phoenix. He's used to the heat.
It has been hot as, again, Yaley chasing after that 38 of Zane Smith behind the wheel of the 38 this week. Now we see Martin Truex Jr. and Tyler Reddick side by side.
Yeah, these two right here running 17th and 18th position. Mark's overcome the spin. Not really been able to really move forward, but trying to make something out of the day.
Again, playoff drivers having issues today. Of course, Kyle Busch out after he had the wreck in turn 1 and 2. Ross Chastain, throttle sensor that has caused him to stumble. Bell had a slow pit stop. Martin Truex Jr., as you mentioned, the spin, got hit from behind. Dave.
And Tyler Reddick had a funky pit stop after leading 36 laps. He was reminded by his team that he didn't do anything wrong on that pit stop. Remember, it's a ballet down there of all the pit guys and the driver. Everyone has to do their job perfectly for a perfect stop. But the crew chief wanted the driver to get that out of his head and move on, Marty.
Dave Jr. mentioned the spin for Martin Truex Jr. at the end of the stage earlier today. The team said the diffuser is, quote, not terrible for Truex, trying to gain a little bit of track position. Truex saying the car has been way too free, though, since that happened. So, Steve, if you're James Small, it kind of feels like same song, second verse, right? A little trouble, though, for Ross Chastain right now.
Ross got way up the racetrack down in turn 1 and 2. He's able to recover. Let's take a look. Car just goes straight up the racetrack. I'm assuming getting down in the corner, either lost the front or the back of the car, chasing it up the track, kept it out of the fence. To your point, Jeff, is he having to drive the car differently now? Is this throttle issue presenting some problems when he's coming out of the gas off into turn 1?
Yeah, it's concerning, you know, if that is the case, and it's the throttle's not responding to what the input he normally gives the throttle. We've dealt with that before, and you've got to now completely change the way you drive. Now, we don't know 100% that's what's happening, but it's hard to imagine that it's not connected. This one car all of a sudden running poorly like this.
Yeah, he was running in the top 10 most of the day, had pretty decent speed, and now he's struggling back here, getting outran by cars in the back half of the field.
Chastain currently running in the 30th position. He was chasing after Ty Dillon earlier, but he's fallen 5 spots further back than that. And the 5 is still up front. Kyle Larson leading at Texas.
All the parts you need at the prices you want. Guaranteed to fit every time. So you can keep your ride or die alive.
Come on, Charlie!
Get crafts, sporting goods, restaurants, and the future of NASCAR all from your neighborhood. DoorDash.
Nice footwork. Man, you're lucky. Watching live sports never used to be this easy. Now you can stream all your games like it's nothing.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about!
Oh, here he comes! Go!
Yeah! Running up and down that field looks tough.
It's a pitch.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
You like that bone? I got a great price on it.
Did you see my tail when that Chewy box showed up?
Oh, I saw it.
My tail goes bonkers for treats at great prices. Sorry about the vase.
Save more on what they love with everyday great prices at Chewy.
The bright lights, the glitz, the glamour. It all means nothing without a shot. A chance to turn dreams into reality. To change your destiny. To make history. Nothing is given. Everything earned. It's more than a race. It's a shot at a championship.
Let's go get a championship, baby!
The NASCAR playoffs return to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the South Point 400, October 13th through 15th.
You're the science guy.
That's Bill Nye. I'm actually the behavioral science guy. Are you familiar with predictable irrationality? Paradoxical persuasion, bereavement sex.
Nothing irrational about that.
The Irrational, tomorrow on NBC and streaming on Peacock.
We're transforming nostalgic cars into life-size Hot Wheels.
I'll be judging Fastly and Furiously.
And I'll be judging you personally.
Hot Wheels Ultimate Challenge, Mondays after Raw on USA.
How important is it to win the first race of the round? Well, pretty important when next weekend you have Talladega. So Cup Series qualifying at 4:30 on USA. And then on Sunday, countdown to green and Cup Series playoff racing at 2 o'clock on NBC. And the post-race, again, once the checkered flag flies, on Peacock, streaming live there as well. As we see Ryan Blaney just in front of Brad Keselowski, those two running in the 4th and 5th position. Really a great rebound, I would say, for Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jeff Jr., we had this conversation in one of the commercial breaks. You know, I'm not sure the 12 is really a whole lot faster, but they've leapfrogged into the top 5. And Blaney, as you can see, this car doesn't handle great in front of the 6 of Keselowski, but Blaney really digging deep and trying to keep this track position.
Yeah, great job by his team. Gambled a little bit just before the end of stage 1. Went from about 26th and got stage points, and then they gambled again to put 2 tires on it, and they've been able to keep that track position. I'll give Blaney a lot of credit right here. You can see his car doesn't drive well, but he's just making it work.
So as we ride along with the BuildSubmarines.com 6 of Brad Keselowski, let's take a look at the progressive telemetry for Brad. Saw him shift there.
Yeah, we're on 5th gear all the way through turn 3 and 4. Just kind of working the throttle a little bit as he chases the car up the racetrack and then down the front straightaway, a downshift into 4th. A lot of off throttle here. A little bit of brake. Down to 4th gear.
Yeah, watch his head as he rolls through 3 and 4. There's a big bump. They ground the bump down some, but it's still big, right through the middle of the corner. Let's see how much it hits it. Yeah, not too bad, really. We hear a lot of drivers complaining about how bad that bump is, but this car just glides right over it.
Here comes Bubba Wallace working to the outside now of the 7. Corey LaJoie. Again, LaJoie had a lot of damage to the right rear of that car.
Yeah, that disrupted the speed on the 23 just a little bit. Buescher trying to do something with this opportunity now. He's got some momentum on the high side here. Can he do the crossover onto the front straightaway to the inside? Bubba's able to defend that.
Bubba Wallace trying to hold off the 17, but the momentum here on the high side, hey, it's going to keep the 23 from working all the way up to the wall.
And right behind him, McDowell, he's worked his way back into the top 10. He ran really well at the start of the day. You mentioned it, Rick. Now this car's showing good speed again. As everybody's pretty much even on tires now.
Marty, the 23 of Bubba Wallace, after leading 96 laps, is he able to hold on to this track position?
Rick, you can see him trying to run that higher line in 1 and 2 because he sees everybody else doing it. But every time he says the car's just too loose to make it happen. He's experimented with it a few times. But Junior, how frustrating can that be when you feel like, hey, the only place my car works is on the bottom. I see everybody else doing it. I can't make it happen.
Yeah, when you move up the racetrack, you're going to have more rotation in the car. The car's going to turn better in the center of the corner. So a lot of guys that are too tight, or they fire off really comfortable on the bottom, the cars build tight, they'll move up the racetrack and find rotation and speed. If your car's turning really good and your back's sliding around, you know, it's not going to be comfortable moving up the racetrack. It's going to slide worse. It's going to be looser. And it's going to take you forever to get around that corner. You're making the corner longer, right? And so everybody that's fighting a little bit of a tight build or a tight balance can make that top work and find great speed, hammer the throttle on corner exit, really accelerate down the next straightaway, but the cars that are loose are unable to do that.
You see on the left-hand side in the pylon, final pit window open. I don't expect the cars to come. Probably about 20 more laps, maybe less than. I'll give you about 15 more laps. We probably will see pit stops. But if you did pit now, you have enough fuel to make it to the end. So you're inside the final window.
Shout out to Michael McDowell in that 34 car. You know, they made the playoffs this year. Had a problem at Darlington, and that problem really kept him out of advancing into the next round. Just couldn't overcome it. But here he is, bringing speed to the racetrack again. It's a really strong year for this team. They have a lot to be proud of and a lot to build on for next year.
Yeah, remember last week it was a 6th place finish at Bristol, so we've seen great speed out of Michael McDowell the second half of this season. Now once again running here in the 8th position, trying to get around the 23, as Larson still with a 4.2 second lead over Eric Jones. Dave.
And Rick, when you're out front leading like that, you start thinking about stuff.
You just broke up big time. Say it again.
Tires have been fine every run, right? I've got no vibration or anything like that. I'm just wondering if the tires have been okay.
The tires have been good, and we went up this run for protection, so you're fine. Just stay smooth with it. Don't overload either end, but we did go up this run.
Yeah, I'm not trying to freak you guys out. I don't have a vibration, but I just want that information. And Dale Jr., you know that's important because now he knows whether he can push, and the up on air pressure gives him some more data.
Absolutely. I think as we get later in the day, the speeds pick up, the loads on the tires pick up. We had a lot of tire issues over the past couple of weekends that have sort of crept back into the series. We had a ton of them here last year, especially late in the race as speeds picked up in these cars. So that's great information to tell the driver, look, no worries. I've actually even done something to make it even safer, put us even on the more conservative side of the air pressure situation. So great job by the 5 team. Great information for the driver. He can run this thing as hard as he wants.
And not great information for his competition. 4.6 second advantage. Kyle Larson out front at Texas.
That's my team out there.
If our network goes down, lives are at stake.
Our comms have to work.
Or the mission won't.
That's why we partner with Verizon Frontline, the network that truly prioritizes first responders.
So we don't worry about getting through. And they're the most reliable 5G network in America. Out here, reliability is everything.
Extreme or routine, Verizon Frontline delivers.
The #1 network choice in public safety. Learn more. It's your mission. It's your Verizon.
Are you guys watching? This is my favorite part. Are you watching?
Okay, time to get your own bed, Hank.
Chewy has great prices.
Hope you like plaid. I do. Who wants popcorn?
Get more of what your pet loves with everyday great prices and fast free shipping at Chewy.
Cracked windshield on your new car? Bring it to Safelight. My customer was enjoying her new car when her windshield cracked.
My car.
She didn't take it to the dealer. She scheduled with Safelight. We have the latest technology for the newest vehicles. And we do more replacements and recalibrations than anyone else. Don't wait. Schedule now.
Safelight Repair, Safelight Replace.
Experience the joy of home suite hosting with help from Ashley. Pay 0% interest for 5 years on guest-approved essentials starting at just $17 per month. Plus, save on accessories store-wide to finish every look. Shop and save today, only at Ashley.
What even is this? Don't touch my things, gross. Janice, when you bundle your home or renters with your auto, Progressive provides 24/7 protection for almost everything you own. But you really need my weighted hoop. It's for my snatched waist. It's my dog chaise lounger. Foot treadmill. That's my Tuesday chalice. Purse that says purse. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy chamber. I can't live without oxygen. Solid gold coffee machine. Lake making kit. Really? Can Progressive cover that too? Yes, but... Hi, it's Janice. I'll take 5. Is my voice on TV right now?
The Premier League is on USA. Storming out of the gates. 2 clubs have captured the spotlight. Tottenham. That's just stunning. Liverpool. The Premier League on USA.
Monday, it's a night of undisputed action.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Priest and Balor for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles.
Raw, live, Monday at 8, only on USA.
It's NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Texas. The Autotrader EchoPark Automotive 400. As Larson out in front and green flag pit stops are starting, Dave.
Happening now. Tyler Reddick on pit road. He'll get 4 and just a little air pressure adjustment to help him through the corners. Remember, Tyler led earlier today. He starts the cycle.
And I'm guessing that will bring a few others to pit road here shortly with under 59 laps to go in the race. And around goes the 99 of Suarez. Can he get it going? He's in the grass as he was trying to come to pit road. He cannot. The caution will come out.
That is bad news for Tyler Reddick, a playoff driver who had already serviced his car because he went a lap down with that pit stop. Unfortunate break.
Let's see what happened with the 99 of Suarez.
So he's coming to pit road and just a little bit hot. Locks up the rear of the car, gets loose, spins around.
You're trying to carry so much speed to get onto pit road, and you just got in there a little bit too hot, trying to slow it down, and rear tires just cannot take it. The teams are on you, man. You got to get on here. You got to get on here. And they measure all that. You sit down on a Monday, and they're like, you didn't get on pit road good during the green flag stop. And then they push you, and they push you. And as a driver, you're trying to find the limit in everything you do. And Daniel just overstepped it by just a little bit. Kim.
And that's not the only issue for the 99. Their tire changer, Jarek Newsom, suffered cramps, had to be sent to the med center for an IV for fluid. So backup tire changer J.P. Keeley working on that car now. So we talk about the heat and how it affects drivers. Here's how it's affecting crew members.
I mean, this heat's no joke, and it's been a long day. Remember, these crew members come, they set up the pit box. I mean, they've been out in the heat now for the majority of the day.
And we heard that some of the crew members worked yesterday, which included practice and qualifying for both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. And now, if they did work the race yesterday, now working again today.
And we've seen tires not be a huge advantage, so you could maybe with that assume if you're the leader, this might be your last pit stop. So Larson had a 5-second lead. They were going to have a very big advantage for a nice green flag cycle and a calm stop. Now with this yellow, now Larson has Eric Jones only 2 cars behind Hamlin, Blaney, Keselowski. They are right back up to the rear bumper of the 5, so this pit stop is going to be very important. For Tyler Reddick, all the way back on 30th lap down, I assume he's going to get, the wave around. He'll go back, but he's going to be the last car in the lead lap. He's going to be like 27th, so he has lost at least 10 spots. He was running about 16th when he pitted. He's going to be 26th or 27th after this cycle.
Reddick can take the wave around?
Assuming everyone in the lead lap pits, which they should. I mean, everyone needs fuel. I don't know why somebody would not pit.
Look at the points as they run. Saw that with Kyle Busch, was 21 points below the cut line.
I'm interested to see the 43 car of Eric Jones, that pit crew. Can they take on the Giant? Can they take on Hendrick Motorsports and beat Kyle Larson off pit road right here?
On to pit road they come, Dave.
Kyle Larson wants just a little adjustment, just a little free off of turn 2. Bigger question is, will he take 4 tires? Yes, they've got 4 Goodyear tires ready, Kim.
For Ryan Blaney, it was better, but the ride quality still not great. Bounces loose over the bumps in 4. Unpredictable, he said, just so rough. They will make a slight air pressure adjustment on those 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Marty.
Denny Hamlin said the car was definitely better that run, but I can tell we have lost some car potential. Not sure we can contend for the win. He said it takes off great, but after that it does fall off, gets too free, and Eric Jones, to your point, almost beat Kyle Larson off pit road. Great stop by the 5 and the 43 teams.
Yeah, Marty, it was inches. It looked as though Eric Jones was going to beat the 5 off of pit road, but it was Larson who was able to win that race. When NASCAR and the teams come to Texas, one of the stops that is a must is the Fort Worth Stockyards for all team members. They love to go and check out the area there in Fort Worth, and you see the Texas Longhorns. Everything's bigger in Texas. Even Big Hoss there, the big screen TV on the back stretch, they made that bigger. As we get ready for the choose, inside outside, Eric Jones will be on the outside, Larson on the inside for this restart. 54, it'll be 53 laps remaining when they come to the green.
And a driver you don't see in those front 5 rows who had done a nice job of making something of the day was the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Well, he got a speeding ticket coming onto pit road, too fast entering, so he will start with 54 laps to go, tail end of the field. Running 4th, right? I mean, this is a huge penalty. This is a 15, 20, 25 point penalty, depending on where he ends up finishing.
He's gained the second most amount of points today in stage points. So those good stage finishes help that a little bit, but that mistake, let's see how bad it hurts him with his finish.
And as we thought, Reddick took the wave around when everybody came to pit road. Marty.
Hey, Steve, remember the playoffs last year? They started with 4 non-playoff drivers winning the first 4 playoff races. It's been all playoff drivers so far this year. Could Eric Jones pull it off today? Dave Ellens just told me our strength, no doubt, the short run. We'll see what Jones can do here.
He's made good work on the outside line all day long. Can he get a good launch here with his 5 car? Racing down into turn 1 and 2 side by side.
Cloud cover. Breathing life into the fans here at Texas as it's cooling off just a bit, but the action on the track is heating back up as Larson now has a little bit of help from behind. Brad Keselowski giving him a shove there on that inside line. Denny Hamlin trying to clear Keselowski and get up into that 3rd spot. Here comes Bubba Wallace in the 23 to the inside of Buescher.
Buescher's got the momentum down the front straightaway. Here comes the 24 car. Byron sneaking up into this battle.
Way up high goes Buescher and Byron.
Bubba's going to clear off turn 2.
Barely clear. Take it.
And now he gets to the back bumper of the 6 of Keselowski, and that moves him up the racetrack, and Buescher hugging that white line behind him.
Yeah, Brad's struggling just a little bit right here for some reason. Both the last couple of corners at 23 run right up on the back bumper.
Again, Bubba Wallace running that higher line, as did William Byron that time.
Maybe they've got this 23 car tightened up just a little bit to give Bubba the comfort to run that higher groove that he wants to run.
They got about a level 3 vibration on it. Just double checking wheels are tight.
Marty?
On that stop, Bubba Wallace definitely wanted to be tightened up, to Junior's point. In fact, he told Booty Barker, anything you can do to give me rear security the longer we run, that's what I want. You know, I don't think many people expected, Jeff, for Bubba Wallace to even make it out of the first round, but much less run so well here at Texas. They all pointed to Talladega, but here with 49 to go, Bubba Wallace running in 5th, and I'm wondering from you, has Bubba Wallace so far been the biggest surprise of the playoffs?
Bubba Wallace has brought speed to the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. Everybody talks about, because he has spoken about it, the stress and the pressure it's been on him. But what he said is that only in the cutoff races has he felt under pressure. Everything else he's been very comfortable with, making the playoffs, being in the playoffs. It's those big moments, but every time you work yourself through those big moments, you build confidence. And now you can look back and you can say, hey, I did it. I know I can do it, and it makes the next round easier.
That radio that we heard about the vibration, I believe, from the 6 car, Brad Keselowski, might explain.
Junior, you're correct. They said he called it a level 3 vibration. So they're just watching it right now. He got to the bottom of the track, but that was a level 3 according to Brad.
I think that would explain why we were missing a little bit of pace in those first handful of laps with Brad, but he seems to have found something comfortable where he can run good pace here, trying to hold on to this position right here in 4th.
I want to know what the scale is. Level 3 of 5, level 3 of 10.
And is it still a 3? He's run about 4 or 5 laps since then. Is that getting worse, or maybe possibly even going away?
His last lap that he went by on the start-finish line, 29.49, which was just 0.2 of a second off of Larson's lap. We see Allmendinger diving in here, trying to get by Carson Hocevar in the 42. Logano still struggling. It's been all day as Hocevar might have got into the wall there a bit.
He did get in the wall. He had a big moment off of turn 2.
Oh, he's got problems. I think, he's going to...
All right, just stay calm here. We'll be all right.
Stay calm.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether he had a bent toe link or something there. He's getting ready to go off in the corner. He's got a handful.
He does. Here's Blaney trying to get underneath him. He had 2 laps in a row that were adventurous over in 1 and 2. Here we go, Tyler Reddick.
Oh, he thinks something broke on the car.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's the replay off before.
Yep. So that was Hocevar. Again, Hocevar behind the wheel of the 42. He's only been back behind the wheel of the 42 for about a handful of races this year. So we see Buescher and Byron fighting for position. That's for the 6th spot.
William Byron kind of lost track position early with that pit stop at the end of stage 1, and they've just slowly and methodically tried to work their way back up in. Now here he is battling Buescher for the 6th position.
I just wonder where the speed is, though, for this team, Steve. They were so good throughout the regular season. But in the playoffs here, they've just kind of been, you know, top 10, top 5 at times, but nowhere near as good or as clear of the field as they were in the first half of the year.
Yeah, we talked about Reddick and Hocefer a few laps ago. Here's Reddick making it 3 wide. Hocefer just does not get down the racetrack. Reddick clears them. And then the next lap led to 40 when Hocefer had issues. So just hard racing, nothing wrong there.
That's good hard racing too. The 24 finally clears the 17. That moves Byron up into 6th place. Briscoe right behind him in the 14, still having a great run. 17 struggling a little bit. He's looking around on the racetrack for speed. There you see Briscoe running in 8th place right in front of Chase Elliott. Chase having a great day today. He's kind of drove through the field and now sitting in the backside of the top 10. Here's this 20 car. Christopher Bailey's missing some letters on that left front tire. They've lost track position in this race and just really haven't been able to get it back all day long. Reddick on the roof of the Toyota cam, looking at Christopher off into turn 1.
So Christopher Bell currently running in the 14th position. Let's see which drivers are on the move. Brought to you by Ashley Furniture. And since the start, Chase Briscoe has gained 23 positions. Chase Elliott 20. William Byron 12, as well as Harvick and Preece. After a poor starting position for William Byron as far as playoff drivers go, he's gained the most. Dave.
And Chase told me this morning he really wasn't disappointed with his race car. He was disappointed with qualifying. They were good balance-wise in the short practice session, but when it went to qualifying, they just didn't quite go the right way, is what he told me. So not a big surprise here to be running well, and as you saw, the biggest mover.
Most laps led today, Bubba Wallace at 96, but Kyle Larson up front has now led 81 laps and closing in on that most laps number.
Advance? In Advance Auto Parts. I need that die-hard power. And the reliability and rugged durability, right? Yes. That's why diehards choose Die Hard.
And Advance Auto Parts is the home of Die Hard. We'll even install yours for free. Yeah.
Hey. Abuela? She makes the best tamales.
This is how we advance.
Nice footwork. Man, you're lucky. Watching live sports never used to be this easy. Now you can stream all your games like it's nothing.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about!
Oh, here he comes! Go!
Yeah!
Running up and down that field looks tough.
It's a pitch.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
Right now at Ashley, pay 0% interest for 5 years on top mattress brands like Tempur-Pedic starting at $37 per month, Purple starting at $39 per month, and learn how to save up to $300 on your furniture purchase. Only at Ashley.
Some days, I don't have time to slow down. So sipping on coffee just isn't an option. That's when I turn to 5-Hour Energy. It's my 5-second coffee. Discover 5-Hour Energy.
All the parts you need at the prices you want. Guaranteed to fit every time. So you can keep your ride or die alive.
We got a commercial building on fire. You need more pressure.
There's a vehicle that's gone over the road. Cardiac arrest, someone's not ready.
Life is literally in our hands.
We got a pole.
Nice to see the Oval Office.
Shucky. New
season premieres October 4th.
With 300 cars in the top 10, a milestone is definitely in jeopardy today. You know, the first win came with Jeff Bodine at Martinsville. That was actually the start, really, of Hendrick Motorsports and their domination. The 100th win came at the hands of Jeff Gordon at Michigan back in 2001. Steve on the team there. The 200th win, Jimmy Johnson at Darlington back in 2012. And then the 250th win came with Chase Elliott getting his first career win at Watkins Glen. Breaking the tie between Petty and Hendrick was Kyle Larson with the 269th win. There's Mr. H, Rick Hendrick, looking for win number 300. They have 299. And as I mentioned, Larson leading the race. William Byron is running 6th. Chase Elliott is running 10th. So 3 cars in the top 10. And by the way, win number 1, that was also in car number 5. That's what Jeff Bodine was able to get to victory lane with at Martinsville. They weren't even going to go to that race. And crew chief Harry Hyde said, no, I think we can do it with Jeff Bodine. I think we should take the car there. We can win that race. And sure enough, they did. And the rest is history.
And you mentioned it, you know, Larson obviously has great pace, but the worst of the 4 Hendrick cars is Bowman in 12th. So a great day for the entire organization so far. Still 30 laps to go, though.
Larson has been putting together some really quick laps, lap after lap. 29.63 the last time he went by. There he has a 4.7 second lead over Eric Jones. Denny Hamlin back there in 3rd. Keselowski and Wallace the top 5.
Yeah, multiple times throughout this race, the 5 cars built up leads of 5 and 6 seconds. I have to wonder, had Denny Hamlin not gotten the damage to the right side of that car on pit road, would he be able to match the performance of this 5 car today? But I believe that incident on pit road really opened the door for Larson to sort of take control of this race.
Let's go back through the field with the playoff drivers, and we'll start once again with Larson up front and Dave.
Running like he did at Darlington near the end, up front and running away, trying to temper him just a little bit as his crew chief. He'd like to win again here because the last time he won at Texas, they went on to win the championship, Marty.
And Dave, I think the question the guys in the booth just asked, if they didn't have the damage, could Denny Hamlin have kept up with the 5 team? They're asking that same question in the pit box. Chris Gabehart said on the radio, there's no doubt we have lost car potential, but if they get out of here with a top 3 finish, that would be incredible with that right side damage, Dave.
Brad Keselowski trying to come up with a top 5 finish, but that's not good enough for him. He wants to win so bad. Doesn't look like it'll happen the way he's running right now. That vibration, no further comment, Marty.
Bubba Wallace saying that he's still struggling with a little right rear security, but the car is certainly better this run. But for this team to come to Texas, sit on the pole, maybe finish in the top 5 and go to Talladega where they've won before, I think they feel pretty good about things so far in the round of 12, Kim.
Well, Marty, William Byron having a solid day in the 6th position. Remember, Rudy Fugle, the crew chief, told me they didn't need to do anything spectacular this round with those 36 playoff points. So right now, a solid day is exactly what they're looking for. Right now, William just needs turn on entry, security on exit, Marty.
Kim, so many teams and drivers worry about this round for Talladega and the Roval. Well, for Chris Buescher, it was for Texas, his home race. He told me that before the playoffs started. He said, we have never run well at Texas. His best career run right now in 7th, hoping to finish it off, Kim.
And for Ross Chastain in the 11th position, despite having that throttle position sensor going dead or going bad, making the most of the day, getting track position as we have a crash right now.
Yep, the
15 of J.J. Yaley.
Yaley is around, and the caution has come out, which means another restart.
Damage to the left rear and the left front for this car.
Yaley was running in the 26th position when he went around, and you see a lot of damage to the left rear.
Yeah, heavy impact. We mentioned earlier, he ran yesterday's Xfinity Series race.
Talking about the car just snapped around on him.
It's going to be interesting to see what everybody does. Track position is so important. So let's take a look at what happens. 2nd lane here off 2.
Yeah, everybody's been pushing that 2nd lane. They've been opening that racetrack up, but still, it's like dancing on a razor blade. If you just go over it by a few inches, there is no grip. Hey, look at the winning nets down right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, NASCAR will take a look at that for sure, Jeff.
Yeah, that's odd.
Driver normally will bring the window net down after he comes to a stop to indicate to the safety crew that he's okay.
So now it's a big decision here, right? 24 to go. Tires have not been a huge advantage. So, you know, if you're a Larson, you're probably thinking, man, I'll take the lead, I'll stay out. Denny Hamlin in third, probably the same idea. But someone is going to pit. With 28 cars in lead lap, someone is going to have new tires. And we've heard from drivers all weekend long that strategy is important, but the worst place to be is the first car on old tires. So is it Chastain in 11th? Is it Bell in 14th? Reddick in 15th? Even maybe Buescher in 7th, Byron in 6th? Or do the leaders feel they need 2 tires? Big decision for the crew chiefs. A lot of guys shading to the bottom. We're going to see who comes, and if the leaders do come, how many decide to stay out and try to leapfrog them.
Larson faking staying out or coming in and goes back out. And Jones, which is second, he comes onto pit road. Dave.
So Brad Keselowski was one that wanted to come to pit road. Looks like he'll get 2 right side tires, and then he'll leave.
Denny Hamlin coming down pit road. He left the call up to Chris Gabehart. He gave him 2 options in code, and Hamlin said, you do what you want to do here. Right side tires for Denny Hamlin and right side tires for Chris Buescher as well. We'll see if these tires make a difference.
Challenge is going to be, while Hamlin was the first car off pit road, I think 10, maybe 15 drivers stayed out. We're going to update exactly what the rundown looks like after the break.
You do not control your fate, whether you're in the front, middle, or the back. There's no safe place.
You can't win the championship at Talladega, but you sure can lose it.
Super speedways, man. If it's your time to crash, it's your time to crash.
Anything can happen, and usually does.
Talladega is a stress ball of emotions.
Calamity does tend to ensue. Just watch out.
Oh, Bubba gets turned!
Yells out, baby, we're gonna get it! Hey, here's your winner!
Yeah! 200 miles an hour? Are you kidding me? This is it. This is the show.
And yeah, that's the second race of the round of 12 on NBC Sports on Sirius XM this week, Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will break down what we've done here at Texas and look forward to Talladega. Again, that's NASCAR Radio Channel 90, NBC Sports on Sirius XM with the Morning Drive guys. All right, so now Bubba Wallace and Larson, they stayed out on the old tires. Last on pit road on lap 211.
Yeah, so you see Larson and Wallace are going to be the front row. You mentioned they stayed out, so the first car on tires, Hamlin, Keselowski, Buescher. I'm trying to find them. I mean, they're far enough back. They're actually hard to see in this field. I mean, you see Denny Hamlin right there. That's, I mean, I'm going on a guess, and I'm going to say that's row, what's that, row 7 or 8 on the outside. Yep. So with 21 to go, they're going to try to make as much time as possible.
A lot of drivers took advantage of the caution, stayed out on the racetrack. One of them, Ross Chastain, who had an issue earlier, lost a lot of track position. Now he's sitting up there in the top 10. How aggressive will this one car be on this restart to try to finish this race strong?
You mentioned restarts. The 2 best this year are on the front row. Bubba Wallace has been the best on restarts. Kyle Larson, the second best on restart. Let's see how it goes. 20 laps to go.
Great launch by Bubba Wallace in the outside lane.
Did he get a little help there from the 14 of Briscoe? They're door to door as they go through 1 and 2. Wheel to wheel into 3. Bubba Wallace holding strong on the outside.
What a move through 3 and 4 by Bubba Wallace to stay right there. He's going to have to stay aggressive, stay tight on the door of this 5.
Oh, around goes a 5. He slides it into the wall. He goes. The caution comes out.
Just get it rolling. Just get it rolling. You're fine.
No air on the 5 as he was going through turn 1, and around he went.
Wallace had to lift quite a bit to not get taken away in that wreck with the 5. Lost a couple positions on the racetrack. Not sure how he'll be scored.
I mean, how many races have we seen this 5 car in a position Great shot to win a race, and late in the race, it go away from them.
The drivers have all talked about how when they run side by side with the next gen, you don't lose quite as much side force, and Bubba really needed to be aggressive there and get right on the door of the 5 car to have any chance of pulling the pass off. They go down in the corner, it's like the back end just comes right around.
And remember, this is on older tires. You know, so although we haven't seen a massive difference in tire grip between old and new, you are sailing down into turn 1, and we talk about how little grip it is down there, and just the back of the car just comes around on him.
Junior, you mentioned it. The 23 had to slow way down to stay out of the turn, and that allowed William Byron to move up. We'll see where he was when the caution came out.
Yeah, the 23 is way up the racetrack and trying just to not crash himself. You know, they went off into the corner and never really went or got to the bottom of the racetrack. The 5's loose right here. He's already loose, already trying to save his car, trying not to get into Bubby's, trying not to wreck the 23.
Yeah, the 23, they're scoring the 23 as the leader. And remember, you go back to the last loop and the caution came out, you know, he was probably leading when the caution came out either way. He did lose momentum, but
cutting away a lot of the body work of the 5 of Larson. Looks like they're going to try to get him back out there. So the crew working diligently again on the DVP, damaged vehicle policy.
Rick, it's a mess down here. They're just trying to get it back so it'll roll, get some tires on a clip, just radio the crew. I'd like to not go down 2 laps, but it is toast down there.
I think the one thing that's concerning me, I'm going to go back to Bubba Wallace. He's way up the racetrack, picked up a ton of debris on his tires. We did not get a couple of, you know, hard corners. They've talked about it. To get those tires clean, you need 2, 3, 4 laps before the car's back to comfortable again. Can he clean them well enough to be able to be that aggressive again on this restart, coming up with just a handful of laps to go on the race? How much grip will he have in those tires? How much trash and buildup is going to remain on those tires for this restart?
And for me, if I want to make sure my tires are cleaned up, it's in the corner. You know, that's where it's got the most load on it. That's where you really need to be working those tires hard under caution. Not much happens on the straightaway because it's not loaded at all, but in the corners, you can really lean on the car, turn it really sharply, stand in the gas, do whatever you got to do to get those tires cleaned up.
All right, drivers, the choose is coming up. So Bubba Wallace is in control. Does he choose that inside line?
I don't know. I think that he was doing some really good work on the top of the racetrack right there. We're not choosing this particular time, right. But I love getting ahead of it like that, Rick, and starting to think about that and have a conversation. I think the 23 is doing some really good work on the top of the racetrack, and you could see how little grip the 5 had on the bottom of the racetrack. A car that was dominating this race, you know, loose and spin out in the lower groove. They're on the older tires that we mentioned. They're not on a, you know, sticker tire with a lot of grip. I think if you can start in that outside line, you get the launch. We saw that yesterday in the Xfinity race. Nobody wanted the top at the start of the race. Later in the race, a lot of cars went to the top to control the restarts because of the grip that developed in the higher groove.
Look at how it changes the playoff perspective for Kyle Larson, who was looking like he was going to dominate this race. He now is 1 point below the cut line, where he is running in the 29th position.
And he goes to Dega, where he really hasn't had a lot of great success at racing the tracks like Talladega and Daytona. So
in the top 10 earlier, I was talking about how there were so many playoff cars. Now it's Wallace, Byron, then non-playoff drivers of Briscoe, Elliott, Priest, Harvick, Bowman filling up. Reddick, a nice recovery. He's getting all the way back to 8th after that unfortunate, you know, pitting and then the caution coming out.
Larson has 1 top 5 finish at Talladega in his career. Having to go there and try to figure that out. Marty, what are you hearing on the 23 car?
So, Junior, after the spin by Kyle Larson, you could tell Bubba Wallace was taking a moment to take a deep breath and also process what just happened. And then after a minute or two, his spotter Freddie Kraft chimed in and said, what do you want to do on this restart? And he said, I certainly don't want to do what we did last time and have that happen to someone else again. And then as everyone started to chime in with all the information, Kim, Bubba said, you know what? I've got my mind made up. I know what I'm going to do. Didn't tell anyone on the team what he's going to do, but Bubba knows where he wants to restart here for what could be the final one at Texas.
Well, this is the highest we've seen William Byron today in the second position, but it should surprise nobody because they're averaging a top 5 finish at 1.5 miles this season. And of note, Rudy Fugel, his crew chief, has won at Texas 5 times in the Truck Series, the most for him at any track on the circuit. One of those wins came with Byron. We'll see if this pair can get to victory lane on the Cup side here at Texas, Dave.
Steve mentioned the recovery for Tyler Reddick, 9th before the choose. What kind of car does he have left? He called it pretty solid recently. His crew chief, Billy Scott's just been trying to keep his driver's head in the game, telling him we got to put everything to the side and focus on getting all you can. You know he's going to do that on the restart. He won here last year.
Chase Briscoe sitting here in 3rd place, you know, has not had the kind of year that we expected from Stewart Haas Racing. It's been a struggle all year long, and when you put a guy like that, Chase Elliott for that matter, Steve mentioned him, Priest, Harvick, Bowman, all those guys are super hungry. They don't care about the playoffs. They got nothing to lose here. They're going to do whatever they got to do to win this race.
Here comes the choose again. Wallace goes to the outside. William Byron will be on the inside. Denny Hamlin, with those fresher tires, hadn't moved up much. He was 12th the last time they went by the scoring line.
I like the lane choice from Bubba Wallace. I didn't like when he said, I don't want that to happen to the guy on the bottom again. I don't care about the guy on the bottom. I didn't do anything wrong. He spun himself out. And so he had a chance to get the lead from the fastest car on the racetrack all day long. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to pick that lane again and put the pressure on William Byron on that bottom lane to get by me.
Yeah, that's right. That does put the pressure on William. If he sees that top, he's going to think, oh, thanks, appreciate that. I do not want to be on the bottom because I saw what just happened. So,
and look at who's in 3rd right now. Chase Elliott was looking for a win here in 2023. And now, as he will watch the 24 and 23 battle in front of him, he's in a position where he could also maybe steal a win and make the season a little bit better for the most popular driver.
Yeah, I think pushing in that second row, who pushes the best, who helps that front row the best, to be really important on this restart. Briscoe get in the back of that 23 early and clear him into 1.
13 laps to go in the race.
Gregory.
So Briscoe gives that 14 a tap, or the 23 a tap. As soon as he felt that, he gassed it.
They're bottling up on the inside. William Byron not going as quick, and then a big run for Chase Briscoe. Yeah, Keselowski goes way up the racetrack.
It's Priest, I'm sorry, Rick.
Priest. But the 14 of Chase Briscoe able to get up to 2nd now. Byron trying to get to the inside of Elliott for 3rd.
Oh, big crash on the front straightaway.
And a lot of cars collected. The 12 of Ryan Blaney's involved. The 38.
A.J. Allmendinger as well. Big damage to the 16 car. The 19 was right in the middle of that. I think Truex was able to get through with minimal contact.
Blaney had some pretty big damage on the right front.
And the right rear tire's down.
Right rear broke for sure.
Yep. Toe link looks to be broke on the 12.
There's the 43.
Eric Jones, after a huge run today, a lot of damage on the front. The AMR safety crew immediately to him. 16 of A.J. Allmendinger climbing out of the car. Massive damage to these cars on the front stretch.
Reddick on pit road. He has damage, so he's coming to pit road early to work on it.
Tough ending for Jones. Let's take another look at what happened.
Yeah, so it's back in the field.
Oh, the 45 gets in, 45, 43, a bunch of cars into the wall really hard.
That was crazy. They both got into the wall kind of nose to tail.
Chaos ensued from that moment.
Zane Smith in the 38, sliding through the grass.
So the 45 hits the wall, and then I believe the next car that made contact with the wall, the 12 ends up running into the back of that car.
And look at Truex right here in the middle of it all. Cars sliding to his left, cars riking to his right.
So this is the first car that gets into the fence off turn 4, Reddick. Just got arrow tight, just lost the balance of the car off the corner.
And then numerous cars collected.
Yeah, the 43, I believe, was the next car to hit the wall, and the 12 runs in the back of him as he slows the car down.
Listen to the throttle. Not sure he ever lifted. I think it completely shocked him that the car did not turn. He typically, when a driver starts feeling the front tires not working, he'll come off the throttle to try to get it to turn. I don't think he ever lifted. I think it completely surprised him that the car went up into the wall.
And a lot of work taking place on the 12, Kim.
That's right, because the right rear toe link broken in half for Ryan Blaney. You see him sitting on pit road as they try to do repairs. Just a poor day for Ryan Blaney. He was back there. That track position he did not have was due to that speeding penalty, remember, on pit road. So just a result of them putting themselves in the back of the field.
So the toe link can be changed on pit road as long as you can do it within that 7-minute mark. Heavy damage to the 43.
While that accident was happening, the 5 of Kyle Larson also went behind the wall, so he ended his day. Looks like he'll be scored 31st.
Just look how much you mentioned it with the points, right? Larson was the first one, but now Blaney, he's at -10 and has maybe 2 more spots he could lose. Keselowski, you know, currently 13th, sitting right at the cut line. Truex plus 15, and when we watch that replay again, like, Truex was right in the middle of it. Yep. For a guy that didn't have the best cars and for sure had 0 luck last round, flat tire right away at Kansas. Is this the moment? Is this the moment the luck is turning for Truex? Is missing this wreck kind of, hey, you survived all the bad luck we could throw at you?
It is down to less than 10 laps, and we look at the playoff drivers and the issues. Bubba Wallace, it didn't look like he was going to have a problem. Started up front, but then on pit road, the issue for Christopher Bell.
Yeah, same issue he's been having all of the playoffs. Slow pit stop on the left side, cost the 20 a lot of time.
8 car gets loose down in the corner. Kyle Busch, you talked about some issues with the car. Lost control, big damage. Knocks him out of the race.
And Denny Hamlin, teammate Ty Gibbs, made contact on pit road. This ended Ty Gibbs' day, did damage to the 11, but they stayed on track.
Well, then Brad Keselowski in the 19 at the end of the stage, everybody checks up. The 43 gets into the back of both of them, and the 19 spins out.
The 5 car that controlled the race most of the day on this recent restart gets loose underneath Bubba Wallace. Kyle Larson backs it into the fence hard. His day's over.
And in the most recent incident, you can see Tyler Reddick and Eric Jones both pound the wall off turn 4, collect a few cars behind them.
Tyler Reddick came to pit road, did some work on that car. He scored 25th right now.
So there you see it, the 43 gets into the wall, the 12 into the back of him, pandemonium for the rest of the field. Bouncing off the wall, contact, and you mentioned it, Steve. Truex just slowly waiting on all this to clear out so he can drive through the wreck.
Look at this right here. That orange car you barely see, that's Truex.
Well, again, the 12 car with all that damage, you can see it's got a lot of suspension damage, but the only thing good for those guys is they did a nice job today getting points. 11 stage points, a lot of strategy this team played on a day where they didn't necessarily have a fast car. They got points. Got the most, obviously not the most out of it because of this wreck, but prior to these incidents, has got the most out of their opportunity.
Yep, so he's trying to make as many laps as he possibly can with this car.
Working pretty hard for those laps.
Yeah.
So 11 of Hamlin. He's still the first car that came off pit road with 2 fresh tires through this cycle of restarts. He's up to now 7th pre-choose. So we'll see where the chooses go. The downside for Hamlin is he continues to run out of laps. And I assume these older tires for Wallace and Briscoe and Elliott, as they cool, they seem to fire off pretty decent.
All right, come into the choose.
7 laps. It'll be 6 when the green flag comes back out. Bubba Wallace chooses that outside line. Briscoe will be inside.
So we saw Bubba on the previous restart wait for the tap from the car behind, and as soon as that happened, it sort of sent him forward, and he just used that momentum, gassing the car up and easily clearing that inside line. Can this all be playing out again perfectly for him to be able to clear off into turn 1?
And then also back in the field, we saw a lot of cars running into each other in the middle of 1 and 2 on the front straightaway, and then obviously they came off turn 4, and that happened. So, you know, all those guys are racing for position. I would not be surprised to see another caution come out.
Playoff drivers, Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Ross Chastain, all a part of the top 5. Playoff drivers won the first 3 races of the playoffs. But you look at some of these people up here that are also a part of the top 8 that haven't won. Bubba Wallace hasn't won yet this year. The 14 of Briscoe. Chase Elliott hasn't won. Kevin Harvick and Alex Bowman all have not won in 2023. All will restart in the top 8. Bubba Wallace. Can the confidence of winning the pole and now coming back to have the track position, can he win his way into the round of 8? It's 6 laps remaining. Green flag's back in the air.
Bubba doesn't get the clearance that he needs. We're going to be side by side down into turn 1.
He's got the momentum.
Oh, he had to lift right there, Rick. Now we're side by side down the back straightaway contact. Here comes Byron to the inside, 3 wide.
3 wide for the lead. Now William Byron to the inside, right up to the back bumper of the 23. Wallace a little loose. Here comes Byron. He clears him. Byron in front. 5 laps to go.
Wallace trying to go to that outside lane. William Byron having nothing to do with it. A big block. Here comes Chastain on the bottom.
Bubba had to get out of the gas way up the racetrack. He's going to lose more positions. He's blocking down the back straightaway.
To the bottom of the racetrack goes Bubba Wallace, and William Byron will also go down there out front here at Texas.
Chase slides, or Bubba slid up the racetrack into Chase there a little bit. Chase has to jump out of the gas, losing several spots in that 9 car.
Christopher Bell back there in the 4th position behind Bubba Wallace. Wallace running 3rd. Byron, Chastain, Wallace, Bell, the top 4 all playoff drivers. Denny Hamlin with the move on Harvick. Coming up on 3 laps to go from Texas. Now as the field gets back to single file, the gap between Byron and Chastain is 1 second.
Bubba's closed the gap on the 1 car, though. This is a battle for second. Chastain's going to drive in that mirror. He's going to go wherever he sees that 23. Oh, the 20 car. Christopher Bell flies into the picture, almost making contact.
2 Toyotas side by side for 3rd. Here comes Bell to the inside. Wallace strong on the outside again.
Bell right on that white line, using that, looking for grip. Not going to be able to clear Bubba Wallace.
Under 2 laps to go. Bell, a little wiggle there, allows Wallace to have the advantage. He's up to 3rd. 1 lap to go. Presented by Credit One Bank. William Byron. Is it going to be the driver of the 24 that gives Rick Hendrick his 300th win in the Cup Series? Down the backstretch for the final time, the winningest driver in 2023, already 5 wins, and now looking to secure a spot in the round of 8. William Byron, the 25-year-old, is going to win at Texas. He's into the round of 8.
Go! 374! Hold on to round 8! Hell yeah! Woo! Hell yeah, boys. Great execution. Hell yeah!
William Byron's dad in the green shirt there. We saw him on top of the pit box. 300 wins for the Hendrick organization. And William Byron led only the final 6 laps to be able to get into the round of 8. The momentum that the 5 of Kyle Larson and the 11 of Denny Hamlin have had entering these playoffs. And with the accident of the 5 of Larson, does that momentum shift to the 24 now? William Byron, is he the front runner as we get closer to the championship 4 in Phoenix? This checkered flag moment brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Well, the milestone win is going to go to William Byron, but Junior, you were a part of those 300 wins. How big is this for the organization?
They take a lot of pride in milestones like this, and they will celebrate this when everyone's back in Charlotte. Rick would not miss the opportunity to be here, to see his car go to victory lane. Decades and decades of hard work put into every single one of those victories.
Steve,
I was part of those. Yes, Steve was part of those as well.
I was part of them too, but on the other side of it.
Hey, for somebody to win, somebody has to come in second. Marty.
Win number 6 of the year for William Byron. And the most important win of the year, no doubt about it. The Texas fans stayed through the heat today, and they get to celebrate William Byron advancing to the round of 8. That young man's trying to show him that he autographed his shirt earlier today. Win number 300 for Hendrick Motorsports. Welcome to the round of 8, William Byron. How did you steal that one on that final restart?
Man, that's badass. I finally got a good restart at the end. It was hot today. I think it's finally hitting me, but number 300 for Hendrick Motorsports. Kyle really deserved this one. Gotta say, those guys were really fast all day, and hate it for them at the end. But man, it was awesome to get our car to the front. It loved clean air, so we just fought through traffic all day, and our Liberty University Chevy was just tight back in traffic, but had good pace. And this was one of those hot days. It felt like when I played football and going through 2 days, just wanted to quit. But it was a grinded out day, and our team was there at the end. I'm really proud of this one, as hot as it was, as tough as it was. So we'll take it and go on to the next round.
Rick Hendrick gave you a shot as a young driver. What does bringing him win number 300 mean for Hendrick Motorsports?
I don't know if I can even put it into words. I was such a Hendrick Motorsports fan growing up as a kid, watching Jimmy Johnson, and became really fond of Jeff Gordon as I got to know him, and just thankful for all the people and men and women back at Hendrick Motorsports and Mr. Hendrick for his investment in me and telling me at 17 years old that he was going to take me to cup racing. So just appreciate everything he's done for me, and this is awesome. We're definitely going to enjoy this one.
And now you and the 24 team are one step from a championship potential run. Now you don't have to worry about Talladega in the road. Well, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, we've just been kind of steady Eddie through the first 3-4 races, and we haven't shown any flashes. But today I thought we had a good car. If we could have just gotten to the front, and at the end there, we're really fast.
By the way, I know it's hot in the car today, but how about these Texas fans who stood out here in 100-degree heat this afternoon?
Yeah, they're better than I would be. So appreciate all you guys coming out. It was a really good crowd for as hot as it was. So got some of the best fans in Texas. I love it here. So look forward to coming back next year.
Rick, you mentioned he didn't lead until that final restart. That doesn't matter. They've advanced now to the round of 8. William Byron in the 24 team.
Talking about how hot it was. Well, there he is, Rick Hendrick. He has built a dynasty. It started with win number 1. Jeff Bodine back at Martinsville. And Steve Phelps, NASCAR president there, chatting with Rick, giving congratulations as William Byron has collected the 300th win for Hendrick Motorsports. He's collected his 6th win of the season. And most importantly, like Marty just mentioned, he has now won his way into the round of 8. So one step closer to a championship for William Byron.
Nice footwork.
Man, you're lucky. Watching live sports never used to be this easy. Now you can stream all your games like it's nothing.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, here he comes. Go! Running up and down that field looks tough.
It's a pitch.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
1 in 8 people have worked at a McDonald's. That's a lot of technical skills, people skills,
Hi, welcome to McDonald's.
and lifelong skills learned on the job and off that 1 in 8 will always have.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, and I saved hundreds. With the money I saved, I started a dog walking business. Oh!
No, it's just too funny!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The NASCAR America post-race show presented by Progressive. Reminder, post-race coverage is also now available streaming on Peacock. So the first race of the round of 12 is complete, and once again, a playoff driver has won. So William Byron has won his way into the round of 8. Good day for Denny Hamlin. Chris Buescher also a good rebound for Christopher Bell. Martin Truex Jr. lost a few points, but at the same time, still saved the day. Ross Chastain also 12 points above the cut line.
Well, I mean, just look how tight it is. Brad at 8, Larson, Bubba only a 2 apart, Reddick, Blaney, and Busch. Even with that accident, still only 17. With Talladega looming in the Roval, you could dump this into a bucket and dump it out again. It's going to continue to change. Hamlin, though, I think, while I know he's going to wish he won this race, has to feel good about scoring some points and keeping that advantage above the cut line.
Bubba Wallace, after leading 111 laps today, ends up in 3rd, and he's standing by with Jim.
Bubba Wallace comes home in the 3rd position after leading the most laps today, 111. That last restart didn't go your way. Walk me through what happened.
3rd time I fooled myself starting on top. These guys gave me the right information. 14's tight, and he sent it off in there. Wasn't going to stick, but that's what he's got to do. We're racing for a win, and just hate it. I should have just kept my line into 3 and forced William to get tight, but you're so vulnerable in these cars, right? But just upset with self. Really needed a win there, and it's a good showing. I don't know where that puts us. Don't really care, but you know, I know what I did, and I choked. Best restart. Go ahead. You're good.
As you look to the next 2 races, can you learn anything from this?
Yeah, you just got to process things slower. I feel like I've made a massive improvements in that, processing things a little bit better. And when it comes down to crunch time, you have to keep it all in check, you know? So the best restarter in the game gives it up on a restart. So funny how that works. So appreciate everybody. McDonald's Toyota Camry was good out front. Struggled in traffic a little bit, but we grinded, come out with a good solid points today. So appreciate everybody's support and efforts. We'll go on to Talladega.
Well, for 99 laps out front today, Kyle Larson was the show. Tell us about that hard racing with Bubba in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, he did a good job to stay with me on the restart through 3 and 4 and all that. And I tried to open up. I was trying to have my shape into 1, and with these cars compared to the old ones, you don't really get sucked around like that. So I wasn't really expecting it, and thought that I would be fine. And yeah, we just went in there side by side, and I lost it really quickly and crashed. So pretty bummed, but you're happy for William, happy for Mr. H. 300 Cup Series wins is incredible. So great night overall for our organization, and congrats to William, and congrats to my team too. I mean, we had a super fast car today, and we've had a fast car at every playoff race so far to this start. So go to Talladega, try to have a good day and get some good fortune, and then have a good race at the Roval.
And the big hat comes out. Drivers, what do you think about the big hat?
Well, it's just surprising. William Byron wasn't the best car all day long, but sometimes you don't have to have the fastest car. You have to have great racecraft, and that's what this young driver has. He does not, when things aren't going well, when the car's struggling to run inside the top 10, he doesn't make those mistakes that we see some drivers make. He settles in, gets what he's capable of getting in the stages, and then later in the race, after all the calamities happen and troubles happened with all the other drivers, there he is with a shot at a top 3 finish, and he pulls off a win. So I just, I'm so surprised and impressed by this young man, what he's able to do in the pressure moments. He's really proving to be really able to handle how big these moments are late in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's ready for the big moments. He's ready to contend for a championship. They're showing it with speed and also good decisions. I would go back to Bubba Wallace's comment. He's kind of hard on himself, and I like that. I like the fact he's hard on himself sitting there with the lead and couldn't finish it off, but I still don't know that he made the wrong decision. It didn't work out right, but had he chosen the bottom, we don't know if that would have worked out right either. So you really got to go back and analyze it. Hey, what could I have done different? It did work for him earlier, and it didn't work then. So it's very difficult to say 100% it did the wrong thing, but he mentioned he considers himself to be one of the best restarters in the business and didn't get it done on that one. Just got to move forward, learn from it, go to the next race.
It was the last restart that determined the winner of the race, as we see Chase Elliott over congratulating the 24 team. Chase Elliott finishing up in 11th. NASCAR America post-race is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com.
Welcome back to the NASCAR America post-race show presented by Progressive. Let's take a look at this week's Progressive Safe Driver. And Kyle, anytime you lead only the last few laps and win, that's a good day.
That's a safe day, man.
It is a safe day.
He stays safe all day long. You know what? He has come into just be an incredibly intelligent driver who sees the big picture of the day. He doesn't have to go lead everything. He doesn't have to control everything, but they have to put themselves in that position at the end. And he and Rudy have continued to do that all year long. When you think they're not even in the race, they end up in victory lane.
But Brad, when you take days where you don't have a winning race car, you have a top 5, top 7 race car, and you win with it, is that a mark of a championship contending team?
Oh, without question, because they had a race car today that they had to continue to work on and continue to take, whatever they had, get the most out of it every stage, whatever that was. End of the day, you have an opportunity. And when you can strike like he did, Bubba Wallace is one of the best restarters in the game. But he stuck with him, and he struck hard down in 1 and 2. He dove that baby in there in that 24, and that was all she wrote. So that's championship caliber stuff.
And win number 300 for Hendrick Motorsports, just so incredible what Rick Hendrick has accomplished here in NASCAR. Ross Chastain somehow, I don't know how, wound up finishing second. He had a throttle problem. Afterwards, Kim caught up with him.
And Ross Chastain comes home with a runner-up finish after what seemed like kind of a major issue. That throttle position sensor went bad, went dead. First of all, tell us what that was like in the car.
It's terrible. You push the gas and it ain't got no gas, Kim. I noticed something on a few cautions, like having the car off in third gear, clutch in, dropped the clutch with the ignition on, and it kind of stumbled, but I thought I just had it too low of RPM. And then I pit, and that pit stop, it is when it had already failed and it wouldn't go, and I'm part throttle to get it fired, and it doesn't think I'm doing anything. So from there they walked me through it, and basically I just had to give it a lot of throttle. So the next pit stop for our final 2-tire stop was just a whole lot of throttle. I'm sure the eardrums are blown out of everybody behind our pit box, but for our Worldwide Express Chevy, we were not fast enough to run second with 2 tires. We were with 4. I mean, early in the race, I thought we were one of the best cars, and I wish we could have raced with those guys. We worked our way back with taking 4 tires a lot and some bad restarts on my side, but we had the speed, and we showed it all weekend, and we did everything we needed to do. And this race, if you follow the chart for running position, is everything that the one team is about, and I love it.
So you feel confident headed to the next 2 races?
I don't know about those. I only care about here, and I just want to run good at the track I'm at, Kim. So, when we go to Talladega and the Roval, we'll just go try to perform like we did today. If it's not looking good, what does the next lap take? What does the next breath take? And whenever we... Yeah, man. I'm not pushing. Whenever we do the right things, those races, they give out the same amount of points as this one, and we'll go and race them the same way.
Well, a good race this team had. 2nd position here at Texas. Thanks, Ross.
Ryan Blaney never led today, but he did spend 21 laps in 2nd place, which was a surprise to some because your day didn't seem like it started so well, and then it didn't end well. I mean, it was up and down all day.
Yeah, up and down, definitely, and ended with a down. So proud of the group for getting a little better all day. Had good strategy, took rights, kind of got track position, and then car was okay. We were just kind of hanging on, but we got better, and then I sped, and it really took us out of it. Took us out of having a good finish, and then you put yourself back there, and then you get in a wreck. So just a slight sliver of hope and proud work all day of like getting better and getting stage points, and then just driver mistake and puts us back in the stuff and get wrecked. So not a very good job by me today, but proud of everyone on this Menards, Dutch Boy, Ford Mustang group. They did the best they could, and we're still not out of it. We go to Talladega, still not too many points out, so hopefully we can run good there.
Talladega, not a bad track for you.
Yeah, pretty decent. You just hope to, compete and make it to the end, and collect stage points when you can, and just try to have a shot at the end. So hopefully we can do that. You never know really what can happen, but the best thing you can do is just try to control the race and try to run up front and control the first couple lanes, and we'll see if we can do that.
Brad, I can maybe make Ryan Blaney feel a little bit better. He's one of the few drivers who's won at Talladega and the Roval, and he will go to Talladega next week, minus 11 below the cut line. But it's William Byron in victory lane here at Texas. He advances to the round of 8. NASCAR America Post Race is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Stay with USA and join Liv, Finn, and all the dedicated detectives and ADAs of the Special Victims Unit, Law and Order SVU, next on USA. Christopher Bell wound up with a top 5 finish today. Kim is with him.
And Christopher Bell only spent 11 laps in the top 5 today, but they were the laps that mattered, the laps at the end. You come home with a 4th place finish. What did you have to overcome here today?
Well, we had to overcome slow performance, that's for sure. We got away with one today. We didn't have the pace to run 4th for sure, and the restarts worked out in our favor, and we were able to sneak by on the bottom and get a good finish out of it. So, this is one of those days where I'm going to be very, very happy on Wednesday or Thursday, but right now I'm pretty disappointed just because the performance wasn't there. So, I got to figure out what I was missing in the car, why I couldn't, produce the lap time that the other guys could.
We saw another pit issue with the pit crew on an early stop. Should you be concerned at this point?
I mean, I have enough of my own issues right now to be worried about them. So if I focus on my job and I do my job better and they focus on their job and they do their job better, we're going to be just fine.
Very frustrated Christopher Bell down here.
Thanks for the hard work all day long, Kim. I wanted to touch on one more thing before we wrap up Texas. You said call you on Monday.
Call me Monday.
On Martin Truex Jr. And, man, they finished 17th, which is crazy because that's their best finish of the playoffs. But he gives up half his points. So, okay, if I call you Sunday afternoon.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, he's not coming, babe. He's not coming to the party.
He's not going to be in the round of 8.
He gave away half the points that they gave him back because he had such a – and then you said, had a good 17th place finish. You can run 17th all day long in this round, and you shouldn't advance. It's going to be tough to advance to the next round.
Next up, Talladega. Remember, Truex has never won a super speedway race. Going to be interesting to see what happens next Sunday.
You do not control your fate, whether you're in the front, middle, or the back. There's no safe place
You can't win the championship at Talladega, but you sure can lose it.
Super speedways, man. If it's your time to crash, it's your time to crash.
Anything can happen, and usually does.
Talladega is a stress ball of emotions. Calamity does tend to ensue. Just watch out.
Oh, Bubba gets turned!
Yells out, baby, we're gonna get it! He is your winner!
Yeah! 200 miles an hour? Are you kidding me? This is it. This is the show.
Oh boy, it ought to be fun next Sunday. Brad loves Talladega, by the way. Here is when we are on the air. No Xfinity race next week. And for the rest of the year, all the Cup Series races are on NBC. And Brad, there's no way to say, here's what's going to happen at Talladega, is there?
No, you have no idea. And that's what if you're racing too, you have to go to Talladega these days with this race car and try to run up front all day long. You get in the back and ride around, you'll get in trouble. Yes. You got to go get it at Talladega. Can't wait.
The only driver feeling good is that guy right there in victory lane.
That guy right there. He said Talladega was a stress ball. I've never heard it called a stress ball, but he's not stressing about Talladega. I can tell you that.
I think they certainly feel good about it. Man, where do you even start with this day in Texas? It was chaotic for all the playoff drivers. Kyle Busch driving backwards down the backstretch was fun to watch. Bubba Wallace looked like he might get the win today. Kyle Larson looked like he might get the win today. A lot of chaos and a lot of points lost here at Texas, but at the end of the day, it was William Byron with that pass right there, getting the win and moving on to the round of 8. We will see you next week from the Talladega Superspeedway on NBC.